Hello and welcome, we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, WR's Ironman is back. Okay, it's a new game, it's a new league, and I'm so excited for this. You might remember me from last season. My name's Scott Taylor. I'll be your host tonight, along with me, the wonderful, amazing Nathan Richards. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm great. It's great to be back here for some more Ironman, of course. WOR as well in collaboration. It's been a while since we've seen some league racing here, of course. The last game didn't have the best reception. Everything kind of died off a bit earlier, but we're back. Drivers are a lot more content with the F125 game, and I'm sure we're going to have lots of great racing this season. I mean, the lineup and the grid as a whole is just insane, isn't it, this season?
It is. Have you actually played the new game, Nathan?
I have, and I'm quicker. I'm only a second off esports now. I've improved.
Oh, not bad. I'm about 1.5 seconds off esports. I don't know if you'll agree or if the viewers will agree. What a game we have, right?
Yeah.
This has taken us, okay, we had a bit of a rough time with F124, I think we can all agree. But F125, I've literally not seen a single person that's got genuine negative, you know, the odd bug here, whatever. But actual, like, playing wise, insane. But that's for us common folk. What are the pros going to be like? Because it's a different game for them, right? It's very different. I'm wondering tonight, is it going to be closer together? Is it going to be further? We have new things like dirty air into racing. And that doesn't really affect me because I'm slower than everyone else. But see, when you've got 20 people right next to each other, I got a funny feeling it's really going to mix things up. And do the pros really understand it yet?
Definitely, it's going to be interesting. I mean, most leagues have had their, their one-off social races, but a lot of the time they're on, quite poor setups, or even sometimes they use the preset setups. So you don't really get to see, an in-depth, in-depth of what racing is actually like on this game. Of course, Dirty Air we know is way more impactful than it was on F124. I mean, last game it didn't exist. This game it does, and you can see cars 4 or 5 tenths apart. So racing itself is a little less chaotic, but it means when you do get those moves, you have a lot more pride because it takes a lot more work to get those overtakes done. But one thing, Scott, that's different here compared to pretty much every other sort of esports thing is it's a 100% race.
Oh, which, you know me, I love. Now, usually I love qualifying, but see, the Ironman just has this wonderful factor of not doing the conventional short qualifying 50% race, right? Which, look, it's fair enough. I get it, time management, whatever. But I want to see that full distance race. I want to see the strategies come out to play. I would love to see it more in the community. But alas, we rely on Ironman, which is proud to be back, and we're so proud to be a part of it. So, yes, there's going to be no qualifying tonight, guys. We're going to go straight into a 100% race. Okay, there's a reverse grid as well. We'll come to that in a minute. But one of the things I think that we like to mention is this custom weather. Now, even we don't know where the weather's going to be. We're just going to have to guess, but I guarantee you there's going to be some variance of weather tonight, right?
I hope so. I mean, some of the tracks that we have on the track pool, we'll look through that in a minute. A bit of rain would definitely spice things up, so I hope they do. I mean, it's all down to, I presume, Timbo's choice of what he wants to do with the weather. There needs to be rain. There needs to be, like dry, wet, or wet, dry, wet. Makes it a lot more interesting. And also, doesn't give people those advantages. We know pace on this game. If you're miles away in pace, you'll win, or you'll be, in that top 5. But here, if you've got different strategies coming through, different weather, no one's really got an advantage. You've just got to hope that you're the best with your racecraft and you can play things at the right time. So it does make it a lot more interesting. You don't go into it, look at the grid and think, well, that person's going to win. Because first of all, it's a reverse grid pretty much. Typically, obviously ignoring Brendan Lee's in P1, the worst drivers
What?
start first, the best start last, ignoring Brendan Lee.
That's bad.
So, of course, on the last season when we had the Hungarian drivers, it was more the fact that these sports drivers that make it 3x3, 3-4 laps. But here, we've got the semi-pros, those who are next in line to be in esports, who aren't going to make it an easy job. They've all got egos as well.
Yes, they do. So I think it's time we go to the sort of season lineup. This is the names that we're seeing driving for the teams. Let's go and talk that. Nathan, if you can take this away for us, please.
I mean, this lineup for the first league on the game, like competitively, it's insane. I mean, Red Bull, Jarno Opmeer, of course, I don't need to explain who that is. Everybody should know who Jarno Opmeer is. Alongside Luca Rapasa, a driver that I think this season or this game should be looking at a dev spot. He's a really, really big talent, of course, moved from console last game and he's now on PC. Then Ferrari, we have Ismail Fassi, who recently joined the Ferrari team alongside Leo Lund, another top talent currently in the Veloce Academy roster. Then Aston Martin, we have Duncan Hoffland and Jack West. Obviously, Duncan Hoffland was racing here last season for Aston Martin. Jack is, I believe, part of the McLaren Shadow team as a dev. Then we have Williams with Alvaro Caraton and his Spanish compatriot Diego Zorzo. Kick-Saber, we have Julian Klaffenbach and Brendan Lee, another really strong lineup. Mercedes, Ist, Van Puki and Balint Elekes, a full Hungarian lineup, I believe. That will be a lineup to watch this season. Then McLaren, of course, last season's champion Danny Brezhne alongside Ben Shabakonyi, part of the the G2/Alpine roster. Then we have Alpine with Yoni Tormala and Finnish driver Larry Tolki, part of the FVR community team. Then we have RB, VCarb, Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, whatever you want to call it. We have Jake Benham and Gamal Chantos, who recently moved on to PC. And finally, we have in the Haas car Otis Lawrence and Tier 2 driver Liam Stevens, another top talent for the future. So that lineup there, Scott, insane. The race is going to be competitive, but of course tonight we have the grid, which has got some drivers jumping in as reserves. Let's have a look what we got here.
Yeah, definitely. So I have no idea how he's frauded his way into P1s, probably because he doesn't do anything. But we do have Brendan Lee starting off. So unless Leo Lund and Larry Tulke have something to say about it, there is a chance until the infamous safety car, no doubt, that Brendan's just going to get a great start. Obviously, just retired from esports. What a kind of emotional send off for him. I'm so happy to see that he's not sort of moved on from league racing because he's a great personality, and I know people want to see him do well. So in the Ferrari, starting P2, Leo Lund in third, Larry Tulke. Then we have Gabor Chontis. Sorry if I messed that up. Into fifth place, we have Diego Zorzo in the Williams. Ben Shabukonye is a name, he's really, really good. I don't know if he had the best of luck last season when we were looking at him, but definitely some great results ready for him. I've got a funny feeling. Hope so that he'll do well. We have Liam Stevens, 7th. Tamish Kokney, one of the reserves, coming in from Mercedes, and 8th. Look at Rapasa, sorry. And Red Bull, really interesting to see how he keeps up. Apparently very, very fast. Really curious to see. Obviously, it's a new game. We might have a change in pace. I do love this. Some people moan about, the yearly cycle of F1, but for this particular aspect, seeing what pros actually come in and do well or do worse, very interesting dynamic. In 10th place, Jack West, very fast or has an incident lap 1. That's what I've noticed with Jack West a couple of races last season. But if he gets alive out of turn 1, he is very fast. One to watch out for. Andrea Molnar, one of our reserves tonight, absolutely incredible. Daniel Kledson, in 12th place, doing well. Julian Klaffenbach in 11th. Sorry, I missed a couple there. Going to Riard Sprogus in 14th. Very fast driver, reserved for tonight. Thinking good things from him, Nathan. Okay, so here's the bit of a drama, right? We got Nicholas Longe in the Williams, right? So this was the esport news recently, obviously, with the Ferrari change up. Very interesting to see what sort of happens tonight. 16th, Tom Roberts, reverse. 17th, Otis Lawrence. What a man. For being so young, this guy has been a force to be reckoned with. Will it carry on into the new game? In 18th, Istvan Pukki. We all know the name. Very, very fast driver. Obviously, the big man of the hour. Starting in 19th, just the way he wants it, so he can do an almost last to first. We have Jarno Opmeer, but in 20th, I'm sure Duncan Hoffman will be having something to say about it. The pace on this man is incredible. Sometimes it doesn't come to light, but when it does, it is seriously world-class level, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And looking at the grid, I believe, if I'm correct, the way the grid's organised is P1 to P10 is our in quotations, non-pros, semi-pros, whatever you want to say. And then P11 to 20th is our esports drivers. And of course, tonight's kick on pole. And then last is Aston Martin. That's because Aston Martin won the championship last season and Kick finished 10th. So it just makes it a lot more simpler. Of course, Brendan Lee should never be on pole.
No.
Here, he should be right at the back. He's a legend, of course, two-time F1 esports champion, one of the best there is. I mean, realistically, if you think about it, has anyone got a chance of beating him here? I mean, Yoda Otmir, Otis Lopes, they've got to charge through the field immediately if they want to challenge Brendan Lee. But then again, our semi-pros, non-pros, whatever you want to call them, they have a big chance to beat Brendan Lee. I mean, if I was one of these, if I can beat Brendan Lee, then that's just insane, isn't it? I mean, half of them were watching him on the telly 3 years ago, winning championships.
Yeah.
Well, maybe a bit longer than that, but we're not going to throw shade on him.
You're right, but we're in a new game, right? So the way
Yeah.
I like it is we get fresh slate. Like we're talking tenths, maybe let's say a difference of maybe 2 to 3 tenths a lap between maybe the fastest person here and the slowest person. So it's like very fine margins that can change game to game. So hopefully he's still got the pace. But yes, no, just because he's no pro anymore, getting first place, he's frauded his way into that. But anyway, let's talk about the tracks that we will be racing over the season. Now, this is always a randomized thing, but we have like a track pool. Let's get that on the screen for you. This is the tracks that we're looking at. Obviously, we can see them on the left-hand side. Nathan, give me a few that you're really looking forward to.
I mean, for me, my favourite on any sort of league racing event is Saudi Arabia because it always produces great quality because of how close the lap times are, and then the racing is always insane, especially heading down to the final corner. Turn 1 as well on occasions can be a little bit choppy. And then another couple, I'm excited to see what we can get at Belgium and Bahrain as well, two classics in league racing. But I think overall, it's just a really, really good calendar. And whoever's picked it has done a good job because they've picked all of the good tracks. The only one, which I don't rate that much, is Singapore. But that's just because it's hard to race there. But skill level wise, it's one of the hardest.
100%. No, I get what you say. I'm not good enough for Singapore either. As you say, look, really good tracks, especially because, like, for instance, Miami was rescanned for this game. It is actually amazing. So these LiDAR scan tracks, there was only a few of them, like Bahrain as well, and Miami, a few others as well. There's just something different. I'm sure the viewers at home have played the new game. Hopefully you're enjoying it. But it just brings to kind of life. And Miami's sometimes a kind of track that's looked down upon, but everything just feels wider. It feels like there's more space to do things. It really is a massive kind of improvement. I'm very happy with F125 and EA right now. I think they're doing an incredible job. If I'm ready for a track here, it's got to be Saudi Arabia. It's got to be Jeddah. Not only does the track look beautiful, it's just absolute carnage because everyone's so good at it and it's so tight margins. I'm so excited for it. It's going to be a very interesting race because it's the unknowns, right? We've had a couple of social races in the relevant organisations that they've been getting their hands dirty a little bit, but this is it. This is kind of proper pace, 100% race. Dynamic weather conditions that can change. I don't know about you, but these pros are time trial merchants. Let's be real about it, which means they race in the dry because there's no option for wet on time trial. As far as I'm aware, there's never been options. So this is when we're going to realise the people that have actually went and done races, whether it's with AI, whether it's with their friends, whatever. This is the time where have they went into the lobbies, have they really practiced wet weather driving? My personal opinion is this game is more friendly, it's more rewarding in the rain. It's a bit more, there's probably a bit more traction. I've got a funny feeling that you're not going to see the massive shakes, because sometimes people could be like a second quicker in the rain, right? I don't know if we're going to see that. I would say it's easier. I would say this game is a lot more user friendly to the average person, which I think will minimize the margins at the top level. If that's the case, it's just going to be like wall to wall racing, right? I hope because as well, I have noticed with Ironman is the drivers sometimes like to relax a little and just send it. And you know what? That's what I'm here for. And sometimes there's not enough of that because there's very high stakes in play. But here, we're just going to send it and we're just going to have some fun, right?
Exactly, that's what it's all about. I mean, no competitive leagues really use 100% racing. So, of course, the strategies laid in here mean nothing going into a normal race because from what I've heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but the tyre wear is different, between 5 laps, 25%, 50%, 100%. I've heard that's true, but I suppose that's just to make it a bit, scale it out a bit better. But, of course, tyre wear we know in this game is a lot higher than it was last game. So, in this race, that's something the drivers are going to have to combat, because they're going to have to kind of figure out what lap they pick. Because last game, just say we did Bahrain, they'd say, right, we went hard, medium, soft, for example. They picked lap 20, 50, whatever. Now they have to do it all over again because the tyre wear is way higher. Of course, warming up your tyres can take a little bit longer in this game as well. So the strategic element is a lot more at stake here compared to, you know, their previous experience and knowledge. So it should be a really, really interesting race.
Really good point bringing up tyre wear. It is insane in this game. It is actually mad sometimes. If what I feel like is that they followed F1 and they've kind of brought it, it's either brought it down a number or up a number. Like the hard tires feel like almost akin to what medium tires were. I don't know about yourself. This is what I have noticed throughout, is that the tire wear is extremely high and it's just incredible. It's incredible. So soft tires are almost useless. And it's really strange to say that. Medium tires feel like last year's soft tires. And hards, it depends on the track, right? But sometimes I've noticed when playing this game is the hard tires can be quite brutal. It's like they'll stay for a while, but they're not fast. They're not competitive. It's almost like if you've got 100% race, there's going to be more stops than last year's game. And that's what I'm quite interested to see. We're just going to get into the race as quick as we can, by the way, guys. We are not in the lobby yet. We're waiting on getting the invite from the relevant sources. So while we're just chatting away, who are you excited? Are you excited to see Brendan, see if he just flies away with it? Wait, I've lost you. We'll get you back, Nathan. Something's happened with your audio. We'll get you right back in. Yeah, it's quite an incredible thing. It's just been the first kind of main race of a new lobby. That's what I'm so excited for. And I'm just like, what is going to happen? I hope Yarno just absolutely sends it. Do we have you back, Nathan? We'll get him there, guys. So yeah, so like Yarno 19th, right? Duncan Hoffland 20th. It's just, I want to say it quick. So last year, I would say it would take Yarno, I don't know. It would take Yarno roughly about 20 laps, I think, to get from the bottom to the top. We'll get Nathan back in a second, guys. New game, new tech issues, am I right? And it was just quite amazing to see that a consistent basis throughout the tracks that they would just kind of find a way. He would just kind of find a way to get up there, along with Danny Berezny, all right, who is just an incredible, credible driver as well. That's the one person that I'm quite curious to see because he's just so fast. He's as fast as he is tall. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's quite an amazing experience. I'm so happy to be back here. We had the pleasure of doing the races last year, and it was just an amazing, amazing experience. I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do to bring that back. And we'll get Nathan back in a second. So yeah, just looking at the drivers again. As you can see, these are the grids tonight. So get yourself accustomed with these names because you're going to be hearing me and Nathan talk about them quite a lot. That's what I'm quite excited to see. Like, for instance, names like Diego Zorzo, you know, he's starting fifth, very fast driver. Does he have what it takes to keep up with some of these amazing drivers? That's what we're going to have to find out. Now, we will just get Mr. Nathan back. I also want to take a look at another great driver, Leo Lund as well. Okay, starting in second. This is going to be a good test for him. Can he get in front of Brendan Lee at the first moment? It's going to be hard to tell. Brendan's been quite fast, but he's also sort of came into a sort of commentary role. He's came into a commentary sort of like content creator role recently. That's what I'm quite interested to see. Nathan, do we have you? Haven't taken. Yes, we do. We've got you back. Now just need to get your video back, but we will get there. If you could just refresh your stream and we'll get you right back on the screen. So, how are you feeling, Nathan? You're a bit stressed right now?
Annoyed because my Discord keeps dying. So
apart
from that, I'm perfectly fine. I mean, I'm excited for the racing. It's been, I was saying it to you before we went live, 7 months since we've been here on the channel, which is insane. Well,
right?
Since Ironman's been here, of course, it's WOR has been running throughout the past few months. But yeah, 7 months since our last season. Can't wait to get back into it. Has my Discord died again, or is it back?
You're good. I still hear you.
Whey! Perfect.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's been a while. Like, last season was great. It was just such a refreshing sort of stream in the F1 community that I just don't think it's done enough as these interesting different races. And it just goes to show, like, you put these drivers, so everyone practices for the same thing, right? It's either short or a full qualifying plus a 50% race. And that's kind of all that they sort of practice for because, you know, I get it. I understand. But when you get put into here, it's just so different, and I'm so excited for it. I really am.
Definitely.
We
And
are,
I presume once you're in the lobby, and
yep.
once we're getting ready to go, we'll go straight into the race. Of course, like we said earlier on, there's no qualifying here at all. So we're going to go straight into the race, see what action we have to unfold. And also, great to have so many of you in the chat. So over 200 people watching this evening at the moment. So, of course, a big welcome to everybody in the chat. Great to have you all in here with us as we get started for a new F1 25 game cycle, of course. PC Tier 1, we have no information on that whatsoever. But of course, we are here for the Ironman League. And then I think July time, we're going to have the main PC Tier 2 and console Tier 1 all the way through to the lowest tiers taking part July. So a lot of different things going on here in the upcoming future.
Yeah,
And have
definitely.
you got an invite yet, Scott? Or are you still trying to source
No,
one?
we're trying to get in the lobby now. Should be able to get in a little second. Obviously, there's just been a little bit of a communication error, but we'll get there. And we're perfect. We are
Hey,
in
we're in.
this lobby. We will be ready to go. Absolutely brilliant. Thanks for your patience, everyone. I'm so excited. It's good. Sometimes we're waiting for the drivers to get into the lobby. So for once, they can wait on us, right?
Oh yeah. Normally they leave till the last second, or they just don't join until 5 minutes after. So
Yeah,
they get
yes.
a taste of their own medicine today.
Yes, 100%. So excited. So I'm wondering what track that they're choosing. I've got a track on screen, but I don't know
Ooh,
if that's going
that's
to
not
be the
in.
track.
No, it's not in the pool, so it can't be that one.
Oh yeah, no,
I
you're
mean, have a
right.
guess before we go in. What do you think it'll be? I'm
Oh,
gonna say Hungary.
I hope it's Jeddah. I mean, I can understand what you're saying. I hope it's
Ooh,
Jeddah. Oh,
that
very,
is the track, I
very,
think.
very interesting. Well, hey, if you're comfortable saying it, you go for it.
Should we go for it? Well,
Yes.
for the first round of the Ironman League on F125, we have the one and only Spa-Francorchamps at Belgium. I mean,
Yes.
that's one of the tracks I mentioned earlier, so maybe those listening to me in the background, it is a really good track. Racing's insane, and who doesn't love 100% racing around one of the most iconic tracks that racing has to offer in the whole of motorsport?
Oh, right. Like, it's just so good. And it's like, and what I've found is the wings obviously really low in this track. Sometimes the turning ability in this game can be a bit rough, a bit understeery as well. So I'm kind of curious to see, especially in Sector 2, like who's really going to gain the time, because you can lose a few tens so easily if you're just
No.
not hitting every apex, right?
Yeah, definitely. A render track like this, where, of course, the lap times are so long. Of course, we haven't got qualifying, so we're going straight into the race.
Yeah.
So the drivers, especially in that middle sector, are going to just have to hope they can hold on, because, of course, your DRS is down towards the, then they come straight in towards the chicane, and then, of course, I think that's the only bit of DRS here, isn't it? There's only that one,
Mm-hmm.
isn't there?
Yeah, no,
Yeah. So,
definitely. Turn one, always a mess. Always a
yes,
mess
it
at
is.
Belgium. Like, that's absolutely mad. Yeah, I'm really, really, really excited to see this. Everyone's in. We will be getting into the lobby very shortly. Let's see if Yarno's still got it. I'm sure he has. Right, I'm sure he
He's got
has.
to.
But like,
Yeah,
you've got to,
surely.
you have to ask the slightest question about who prefers this game, you know, because it is easier. This game is easier.
Yeah.
Is this going to help the sort of semi-pro guys like get a little bit closer, or is some way the pros just going to find that little extra something?
I mean, the good thing about this game is it's a bit like an evolution from 24, with all of the fixes made. Of course, dirty air being added in, higher tyre wear. They've completely changed the tyre model, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've changed a lot of things, which does make it easy to adapt to, because the handling very, very similar. But they've of course made the best fixes. So the drivers going onto this, they should just pick it up, do a few laps of every track or whatever, and then be straight back on the pace again. Which, looking at the time trial times, it is insanely close. I mean, world records P1 and 2 sometimes are separated by 1 or 2 thousandths.
Yeah, it is quite mad, to be honest. I'm so excited. We'll be starting soon. Let us know in the chat, who do you think's going to actually win this? You know, you thinking Duncan, Yarno, Isfan, Otis, Nicholas Longy, right? He's got a lot to prove this year. He's going to be coming back with fire inside him, I think, and he's just going to be like, you know what? This is going to be my year, my game, and I'm here for it, right? I just want to see everyone do well. Obviously, there can only be one winner. But if I had to put you in a really difficult position, who's going to take the victory? Who do you think?
You know what? We'll go with Brendan Lee.
Amazing, amazing. I think that's going to be a quite good. Oh wow. Okay, okay, guys. I'm going to show you the lobby. I'm going to show you the lobby. Right, he's ready for this. Let's do it. Oh yes. Now
Drum
that
roll.
is a lot. That is a lot. We have a slight echo on your mic, by the way, just FYI. So let's get ready. We will be getting into the race shortly. Now, the only bad thing about a full 100% race with no qualifying is this can start at any second. So we're going to stay here for 5 seconds while they get their setups on. I'm so ready for this. I'm hoping wet, dry, wet. That's where my kind of head's going. Really interested to see. But, oh, this is going to be spicy. I'm ready for this. Let us know in the chat. Are you ready? Who's going to be your winner? Who's going to be your first DNF? Or, if any, maybe I'm cynical, but I got a funny feeling we're going to see a couple of DNFs, maybe a couple of safety cars. We will bring you all the action here. So excited. WR's Ironman round 1. This is it. We are going for the foreseeable future. I want to see who wins this championship. Such an interesting format. No qualifying, because that's where they all practice, right? This is real race pace. This is strategy, Nathan, right?
It is. And right at the start, no DRS. So if those
Right.
on the wets are quicker, they are going to pull away and fly off. So they've got to keep together with pace here.
You're 100% right. I'm so ready for this. I'm sure they're all just dialing in their setups. Because, right, there's only one setup and we're going to have changing conditions. Do you use a dry setup? If this was F124, I would always use a dry setup because I just felt like no matter what, if it did dry up and you had these high wings, especially at a track like this, it's kind of game over, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can increase them by, 3 or 4 clicks, give you a little bit of extra downforce, but apart from that, you don't need to change too much.
No.
Especially on this game, the wet is a lot easier, way more grip.
Oh, I'm so excited. Will anyone make the mistake of going onto a wet tyre as well? I've seen this. Like last game, I have found the intermediate tyres to be basically the best tyre in the wet conditions at all times. You know, some laps it might be a little bit slower than the wets, but it's never enough to justify that extra pit stop.
No, never. And I'm starting to think if there's an issue because we are sitting here for a rather long time. So hopefully...
Oh, here we go. And we are ready. We have the 5 red lights. And we are off. Very excited to see. Very quick getaway from Larry Cook in third. Let's see it from his board. It goes into view. It gets a little bit of a touch. Look how close they all are. Very cautious. Getting around turn 1. 3 wide coming down there. It seems to be everyone gets away. Liam Stevens up to 7th. Going up to Eau Rouge. Okay, a little bit of a bottleneck at the back as well. We have Andrew Molnar just getting a position there. We have Otis Lawrence just behind him, getting ready. But going back up to the top, we have Larry TIL. Can he make this move? On Brendan Lee's already lost the spot. Goes into defensive, getting to the end of this straight. Will he keep the spot? Yes, he will. Brendan Lee still in second.
Indeed, and a great start there by Liam Lund in the lead now by 8/10, as we do have lots of squabbling further back here. Bench Makonyi under pressure here from Jack West and Tamas Cockney there in P10 and 11 as we head our way down towards the next breaker zone into the hairpin. You can see a great send there by Jack West, of course, known for his aggressiveness here in the Ironman League. And further back, we can see there Jarno Otme getting past both Tom Roberts and Richard Sprogis, who dropped down to the rear of the field. And now already, Jarno on the attack of Daniel Kelso, looking to jump up into P17 early on in this one. A bit of a barge up into P17 goes the Rebel. And another thing to kind of have a note on is what tyres they're on, because I presume most of them are on... Ooh, we have a mix here, wets and intermediates. So that tells us this game, do the wets actually work?
That's quite interesting as well. As Duncan Hoffman up to 13th place. Let's quickly look at the grid. He's up 8 spots in half a lap. This man is ready to go. What a great start. Biggest loser so far is Tamas Cockney down 5. Daniel Clenchen down 6. Otis Lawrence already getting into 13th. Gets in front of Tam Ashers and dropping down quite a lot, sadly. He needs to just find his feet and get back into it. But look at this. Brendan Lee, 2 seconds off of first place.
Yeah, indeed, and you can just see how at the start the wets are way better tyres. That gap's now over 2 seconds, and now Larry Tulkey up into P2 ahead of Brendan Lee, and now Luca Rapace, who started 9th, is up to P4, possibly up into 3rd as we head our way into turn number 1 at La Source, and Luca Rapace jumps up into 3rd. The Inters at the start of the race certainly not the way to go, as we do see Duncan Hoffland there ahead of Nicholas Longay. And of course, Nicholas Longay is not a driver who will often let a position go, so it just shows how quick these wets are at this point in the Grand Prix. Lap 2 of 44 here, and the gap at the front is still increasing and increasing here. Leo Lund ahead of Larry Sulky.
Yeah, incredible, right? He is gone right now. Great start. This is the start he wanted for Ferrari. Doing well. Oh, a little bit of a slide there. Nothing too much. Jarno up now into 15th. Goes down the inside. Gets in front of Istvan Pukki. Now, that's one of the only overtakes I've seen enters to wets. Might not say anything yet, but just pointing it out. You know, there we go. Brendan Lee now fighting with his teammate, Julian. Who's going to win this one?
Oh, it's going to be close, isn't it? And there we go. Julian Klaffenbach up into P4 here as we exit out of No Name, and then of course down to P1 Gabel Chontos as well, looking to try and jump up into P5 here in the Haas as we work our way through. You can just see how much they have to struggle for grip heading through that corner, trying to carry as much speed through, and there they're starting to bring that gap down to Diego Zorzo. Jack West there jumping up ahead of Zorzo, actually up into P7 for the Aston Martin, and so far it's been a decent start for Kick and Aston Martin, who sit P4 and P5 and P7 and P10, so very strong in the constructors at the moment. But Scott, it's a 44 lap race. We're 2 laps in. What do we see now? Could be a completely different order by the time we get to even lap 20.
Yeah, 100%. Only one thing I'm a bit worried about for Istvan, he seems to be a little bit stuck there on the wet tyres. We've seen massive gains at the front. He's not really been able to do that too well yet, but let's not count him out yet, obviously, as Duncan Hoffman making a move into 9th, gets it stuck right before the final 2 corners. Leo Lund's fastest lap, a 2:03, very, very slow lap times. Just goes to show just how wet it is.
Yeah, it's soaking wet at the moment on the circuit. Of course, we expect to see that weather change. I can't see it being like this the whole race through, as Gabel Chontos there ahead of Brendan Lee. Brendan down to P6 here at the start of this one. Of course, starting on pole, and now the leader of the intermediate runners. And of course, that could pose as brilliant here for Brendan later on in the stint. Once those wets start to die off, or once it starts to dry up, the Inters will thrive, and then Brendan Lee will have his turn of working his way through. And now already looking to jump back ahead of the house of Gabel Chontos up into P5 goes Brendan Lee once again, as we did see Luca Rapassa now jump up into P2, overtaking Larry Tolke as they went through in towards the late comp chicane. So things in the order started to chop and change rather quickly, and now the 2 Aston Martins are also a position apart. How long will it be before we see Hoffland get ahead of West?
Yeah, definitely. Basically, everyone's still in the same train. I've got a couple of guys a few tenths over that 1 second mark. Other than Leo Lund, obviously, he's flying away right now. Clean air, right? Every other driver, bar Lucas, has to deal with dirty air, and it's going to be in effect even at about 5-6 tenths a second. So right now, he's in the prime spot, right? He can just fly away and do what he wants and just let his pace go, as we have Otis Lawrence and Nicholas Alonge switching places. That looked a little bit amicable there.
Yes, definitely. And I'm looking at the gaps here, and they're starting to come down. Brendan Lee has brought 4 tenths on Julian Klaffenbach. Jack West is closing in on Gabel Chontos, and then Diego Zorzo hasn't lost any time off from the back of Duncan Hoffland on this lap. So are we starting to hit that crossover point where the intermediates become the stronger tyre? I think it's at the crossover point now. Give it a lap, and I think the Inter should be the quicker tyre here. You can see the rain barely falling on track at the moment as we're on board with Jack West, heading down in towards the chicane, the bus stop chicane at the final corner. Jack all over the rear, on the wet grip that the Inters have at this point here. So already we're starting to see changes, chopping and changing. We're on lap 4. What a race this could be, Scott. I think this could be an all-timer of the way it's starting.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling the weather's messed up a few of these drivers, because if they'd have known it was going to get this much later after only 4 laps of racing, then we probably wouldn't have seen wet tyres. So I'm a little bit worried, especially with Duncan Hoffman, because he's a potential race winner here. If he's made the wrong call, it's going to be that's a lot of overtaking that he's going to need to do. Talking about overtaking, we have Julian in the kick, getting back into 3rd place, still just wet tyre versus wet tyre, but Brendan Lee is going nowhere. Liam Stevens lost a couple of spots there. Look how close that is between them all. Very amazing. The other 2, Jarno up to 13th already. He's got 3 drivers to get in front of now that are very close together.
Oh, and Jack West there overtaking Gabor. I think Gabor must have made a mistake, because that gap was around 6 tenths a second ago. Up into P6 goes the Aston Martin. Then, of course, further back, we did see Liam Stevens under pressure from Jarno Opmeer, but also looking to make a move on Ben Shabakonyi to jump up into P11. Of course, only a position away now from his teammate, Otis Lawrence, as we head our way through P1 corner, and Brendan Lee has brought that gap down to below a second. I think we've hit that point where the intermediates are the quicker tie here, because Gabor's also being gapped here by Jack West, over a second back from that top 6, and now Diego Zorzo and those behind are right on the rear of Duncan Hoffland. So you start to think here, these guys on the wet, because of the gaps coming down, do they have to pit for intermediates possibly just to avoid just dropping down to the back? Because once the Inters become the OP tyre and optimal, those on the wets will just drop position, lap after lap.
Yeah, definitely. Jarno getting in front. Liam almost just had no interest in fighting that. It must be weird when you get Jarno right next to you. Do you want to fight? We have Diego Zorzo and Duncan Hoffland. This is interesting, right? Let's look at the tyres. This is interesting. I think this is the first official overtake from intermediates to wets, and Duncan, you do not overtake him easily. We have already into the pits. We have a couple of drivers. Liam Stevens, did he pick up damage? No, he's not. Sorry, I've just been a bit confused. Yeah, no, he is. He's into the pits. We'll see it. He may have got damage. Isfam Puki already straight into that. Let's just quickly see what's happening here.
No, just Inters, it seems, for Liam Stevens. That's an odd one. Unless he has had damage, I don't know. Oh, no, never mind. He's just popped back out. So, no, it's just intermediates for Stevens. That's a bit early, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Jarno up to 11th now. He is absolutely flying. He just does what he does best, right? He just has a way of just slowly getting up the Lord. He never takes out 4 people at once, right? It's just one move at a time and keeps going. We have a little bit of a fight with Otis Lawrence as well. Seems to do well. And Jack West into 5th.
I mean, look at the Inters now. Brendan Lee has dispatched Larry Tolke, who was up to 2nd on lap 2, and now he's within a second of Julian Klaffenbach, his teammate, which overtook him, I think, at this part of the track a couple of laps ago. And then we can see here Duncan Hoffland under pressure from Jarno Opmeer up into P10 for the Fine Dutchman as we head our way in towards P1 corner. And of course, you'll start to see those wet tyre drivers hit now onto intermediates. Ben Shabakonyi now looking to make a move ahead of Duncan Hoffland as well around the outside in towards the Lafania chicane, and that just shows that the wets are starting to lose it, because I don't think I'll see anybody being brave enough going for a move on the outside at that corner. Won't go for it in Stavolo, but could look for it through Bonchemont and down towards the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, we're pretty much there. Talking about Brendan Lee gets in front of his teammate. Was that a little bit team orders, or did he just have the pace? Who knows? But he's back into 3rd place. Jarno, another overtake into 9th. Looks like Gabor did not want to do that, but he had no other choice. Nicholas Longate and Duncan Hoffland, he's just losing places every lap now. Will he come into the pits now? Ooh.
He's got to surely. Look at he's down to 14th. He was, what, P8 about a lap and a half ago? He's got to go to the pits. He has to. Leo Lund also from the lead in the pits. And Leo Lund actually played it quite well, because he started on the wets, got up into the lead, had a 2.5 second gap, and has now decided to go into the pits. So, compared to all of those on the wets, he's in such a good position now, going onto a brand spanking new of Inters, as we do see Brendan Lee right on the back of Luca Rapassa. Of course, Luca won't hold the lead that long, and Brendan Lee just casually gets past. I mean, not many drivers can go from 6th to 1st just like that. I mean, that wouldn't even have broken a sweat for Brendan Lee.
Yeah, and even less drivers go from 1st to 6th to 1st. He's done well. There we go. Oh, we got a close one there. Gabor loses a couple of spots there. Nicholas Longate up into 10th, doing very well. Let's look at the heroes and the zeros so far. So Otis Lawrence up 12 spots. Jarno up 8 spots. When you're looking at tyre wear for Otis and Jarno to do that on intermediate tyres, that is quite a statement so far.
It is. I mean, lots of Otis, Jarno, both up 12 and 11, and then, of course, Leo Lund and Liam Stevens. They've dropped down a lot, but they've also pitted, so, you know, it's always going to show a negative there, but I'm sure they'll easily work their way up. And, I mean, just look there, the gap between Leo and Duncan. They pitted on the same lap, and because Leo Lund had the lead in clean air, he's 10 seconds ahead of Duncan Hoffland, which is an insane gap, considering at the start, you know, they were all within a couple of seconds of each other. So Leo Lund has played that really, really well, and already 2 seconds back from those who started the race on Inters. So give it a lap or two, he should be on the rear of Richard Sprogis, and then we can see Jarno Opmeer again making a move casually, jumping up into P7 ahead of Larry Tolke, who I believe also still has to pit onto a set of intermediates here. So he's left it a lap later to go for that bit of an overcut to have the better tyres than those who've just pitted.
Yeah, a very interesting thing I've found as we look at goes right into the pits. I've found on this game that the overcut's very strong. The tire wear is extremely high, and it's almost in your best interest. You go as long as you can on these tires and hope that you get that offset back at the end. Otis Lawrence into third place, in a position that he's very used to getting podiums, looking very strong, but Jarno not that far behind. Brendan has now broke about a second off Jack West. That's not an easy feat either.
No, certainly he's not. As they continue their way on through the Kemmel Straight and, of course, in towards... Oh, Liam Stevens is out, and that's in the pit lane. So, not the best start here for Liam Stevens, of course. I think raced a couple of times last season, but, of course, this time around, full driver, and unfortunately will not be making it past lap 7 here. As, of course, that yellow flag will be for Liam's car to exit the pits and, of course, retire. But a few moves happening in the midfield here. We have Daniel Kelson on the back of Larry Tolkey, looking to jump up into P number 9 and does so, and Larry curiously still staying out here. So is he hoping that in a couple of laps time maybe that we go to dries, possibly trying to edge it out that little bit longer? Same for Julian.
Yeah, he must be. He's probably calculated that he's going to be losing 1, 2, 3 seconds a lap. Is the rain going to stop within 5 laps? Is it better to do that? How long's a pit stop here? I would argue maybe 22 seconds, something like
25,
that.
something
25,
like that, yeah.
right? So yeah, you're gonna have to do the math right in your own head. But those tires are going to be getting hot soon, really, really hot and slippy.
Yeah, definitely, especially when you can see a dry line forming. So those tyres will be absolutely boiling hot easily in a overheating stage. And of course, you've also got to work with that because it'll be a lot easier to spin, a lot easier to lose traction on corner exits. So that's something Larry and Julian have got to combat now until they choose to pit Andre Molnar. Making it up into that top 10 past his teammate, and then Tamas Kokony as well. We'll be looking to jump up into P11 too. And getting past Larry Tolkey, as we do see here. Jarno Opmeer up 13 spots. Otis Lawrence up 14. Of course, they haven't had to pit or anything. They just played their strategy right. And now Jarno looking to make a move on Julian, who's on the wets. I mean, he didn't fight it, did he? There's no point. He's going to lose more time fighting because he knows either way that position has gone. Jarno is going to fly off now.
Yeah, definitely. As we seem to still have a yellow flag. We'll see if that goes away soon. Yeah, one person I feel like a couple of people we should mention is Daniel in 9th and Andre Molnar in 10th. Up 3 spots, you know, maybe not the household names and some of the other people in his lobby. Holding his own. Diego Zorzo staying in 4th, doing quite well, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
be happy.
He had a decent start. He started around, I think, P8, P9, up to P4, and holding his own quite well. Of course, Jarno behind, of course, inevitably will catch up at Jarno Opmeer. And then, of course, not actually falling that far off the back of Otis Lawrence. So far, so good here for Diego Zorzo. But then the question is, how long is it till the likes of Jack West and Otis Lawrence also look to close down on Brendan Lee? Because those gaps are starting to fall slowly here. As, of course, we're on lap 8 of 44, nearly a quarter of the way through. And Daniel Kelson on the back of Nicholas Longue, who's had a bit of an up and down start. Of course, lost positions at the start, has made them back, and now he's falling under pressure again.
Yeah, definitely. Up 7 spots from the start, so I'm thinking he'll be happy enough. But yeah, definitely one to watch. I'm looking at Duncan Hoffland and Leo Lund as well. That's still a 10-second gap. So just going to show, like, Leo Lund has pace right now. He has pace, because if you're on track with Duncan Hoffland, they both get... Actually, Leo's not get clean air, but Duncan does. So, and he's keeping that gap to about 10 seconds since the pit stops. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, and Leo Lund has got really good pace. I mean, like I said earlier on, he's one of those talents that dev teams, you know, well, the esports team should be looking at him for a dev seat. I mean, if he was 16, I'd be saying put him into a seat, you know, get him a 3rd seat, get him some experience, because he's going to be one of those in the future that will be driving in F1 esports if that's something he wants to pursue, because for his age, his talent is really, really strong. Of course, part of the Veloci Academy team, who are also probably the best, in quotes, community team. I don't class them as one because they've got Veloci in their name, but we'll let people decide what they want to do. But look at that, Scott. Medium tyres for Julian Klaffenbach. That's a risk.
Yeah, no, that is like 100% a risk. We're going to just see if his first kind of start of the lap. These are going to be really cold tyres. Comes out into 18th. Weird Sprogus gets into 12th as well. Let's just look for a second. Oh, it was already a little bit of a slide there on these tyres. Are they looking good? He's definitely got the pace already. Just coming out into cold tyres. Gets in front of the intermediate. So this could be... I'm just very curious of these couple of corners. Let's go on board. Yeah.
He looks fine. He's flying.
Definitely a little bit of a slide, but like that's definitely 1 lap away. I think he's went 1 or 2 laps early, but I don't think he's going to matter too much. He was on really old wet tires, so like fair play to him. Let's see if anyone else follows him once we get to the end of sector 3.
Let's see. I mean, that gap, he's keeping fine on the back of Istvan Pukki. Should probably get a move by the time he gets to the end of the lap, because you can just see he just throws it into the corner and the car sticks. But one thing you don't want to do is hit the curbs, because they'll still be damaging to your race at this point when they're still a little bit wet, a little bit damp. There won't be much grip there. But I can see Brendan Lee, you know, Jack West, all those guys at the front bailing now, get into the pits, get onto mediums, because Julian is flying forward, getting past this Van Pukki, and there they go, all into the pits for our top guys. But those that are together with their teammates, such as, well, I was going to say the Williams, but they're 4 seconds apart. But theoretically, you wouldn't want to have teammates pitting on the same lap with you. And there we can see Nicholas Longate staying out. But DRS has been enabled.
Yeah, see, I would have just taken the hit there, to be honest. I know it was going to be a double stack, but I've got really... Oh, look out, with a 10-second penalty. I've seen it. No matter what lobby you're in, whether it's an open lobby and a 25% race or one of the top levels, there's always someone that goes too fast into the pits.
Oh, what a shame there for Luca, who was actually having a really good race as well in that Red Bull, but will really struggle to get any sort of decent positions now in this one with that 10-second penalty. As here we can see Otis Lawrence flying past Jack West up into P3 now, back into those top 3 spots. And look at the gap between Nicholas Longay and Brendan Lee. 8 seconds. That is insane. So Nicholas is going to drop probably to around P10, 11 here. Might even drop lower, because those inters are just not the way to go at this point. Shabakonyi, I think, getting past Julian Klaffenbach there up into P7. We see Tamas Kokony there looking to apply some pressure onto Andrei Molnar to jump up into P10 as they head their way through Les Combes, and then Rihal Sprogis getting past or under pressure here from Leo Lund.
Oh, sends it on! The space was not left, and that is Rihal Sprogis off to the side. No idea who to put blame on that right now, but that was unfortunate miscommunication between those 2 drivers.
Ah, what a shame there. And Rihal Sprogis, unfortunately, drops 5 seconds back and loses a position in the progress. But it doesn't matter, because Luca Rapasa has got a penalty, so he will at least get that at this moment. Net P14 here as we continue our way on in towards the Les Combes chicane once again. And of course, Nicholas Longay will have to pit. He's dropped 2 seconds back from Brendan Lee in the matter of a sector and a half here. So he's got to head into the pits. He certainly will do. In the Williams, of course, we'll pit onto mediums or hards, one of those 2. And the curious thing here is we have got everyone on mediums bar Lawrence, Sabakonyi and Molnar. So most people not thinking that hards for the first stint are the way to go.
Yeah, which is interesting. Maybe they've got thoughts of safety cars, like definitely could happen. Although I'm seeing very clean driving, but I'm also seeing some gaps between drivers. I would argue that safety cars might be a little bit less than usual on this track.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? As we do see there, Longay coming out behind Kokony and behind Molnar. Will slot into P11 here. Jack West making a move ahead of Otis Lawrence, jumping up into P2 there as they head their way through the Les Combes chicane. And then we can see Shabakonyi dropping down 3 spots. We've got, I think, Molnar dropping behind Kokony as well, dropping down to P11 as Nicholas Longay makes his way through on the hard tyres. And then as we see further ahead now, Daniel Carlson on the back of Julian Klaffenbach, that's for P6, and Rihal Sprogis getting ahead of Luca Rapasa and jumping up into P14. So a lot of swaps starting to happen here. Of course, with the wets and the inters at the start, it has spread the grid out a little bit more than we would have normally had, because we don't normally expect 3 and 2 second gaps in a pro lineup like this. So as the race gets on, unless we get a safety car or something, the gaps, they're not going to come down that much unless strategy comes into play once again.
Yeah, definitely. Top 3 losing some DRS. Diego and Faf, he's keeping that for now. It's getting a little bit spicy though. Leo Lund and Rihard's obviously having their little thing. It's allowed like Duncan and the others to catch up. Istvan Pukki down in 18th, having a bit of a rough race so far. We'd hope to see maybe some better results from him near the end. But yeah, Otis Lawrence seems to do well on those hards. My experience as, you know, an amateur doing this game is the hards are quite slow compared to the mediums. But you wouldn't know if you were looking at Otis Lawrence right now.
No, he's flying, absolutely flying along here on the back of Jack West. And then looking further back, that gap between Tamas Kokony and Ben Shabakonyi is also starting to come down here. So It's a bit of a confusing one at the moment. The mediums seem better, but of course, how many laps is it before those hards start to come into play and then overtake those on the mediums? That's something you've just got to battle and hope that you're on the right end of the strategy at the right time, as we do see once again. Otis jumping back up into P2, but these two, we expect to see them swapping all race long because they're going to. You know, there's no point Jack West sticking behind Otis because Jarno Opmi will be sniffing right on their rear ends. So they've got to keep swapping just to keep a gap to Jarno and those behind us. We do see Luca once again making a pass ahead of Richard Sprogis, and that strategy for Duncan just hasn't worked out, has it? Look at him now, down in P16, was up in that top 7, of course, went out a couple of laps later on those wets, and has now had to pay the price, and 16th place here. So a big shame for Hofland, considering all of the other pro drivers, bar Istvan Pukki, have kind of shot off up the field.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, because Nicholas Longe had to do an extra lap in let's be honest, dry conditions with intermediate or wet tires. I can't remember what it was, but anyway, an inferior tire, and it still came out a long way ahead of him. Do you know what I mean? That was quite a disadvantage staying out that long. But there you go, 1 lap old Hards in 10th place, doing quite well for himself. Jarno slowed down a little bit there compared to Jack West. Nothing crazy, but he's been slowly catching back up now again. As I say, I feel like you find this with Jarno as he just sort of takes a few laps to sort of build up the move, and then just gets another spot.
Yeah, definitely, because I think as well, you know, it's one of those, if Jarno's on the back of you, it's inevitable that he's going to make the move because he's a really quick driver. Easily the best in the game, I think, at the moment. So, yeah, I don't think it'll be long before Jarno starts to close up a little bit more to the back of Jack and those ahead, as we do see a little battle forming here between P6 and P8, that being Daniel Carlson, Julian Klaffenbach and Ben Chabaconnier. Of course, Bench is on the hards, the other two are on the mediums ahead, so we'll have to see how that can factor into this battle as Jack West once again up into P2. And that gap to Brendan Lee is increasing more and more. It was 2.4 last lap, it's now 2.9 as that was close to contact heading into Laycom there with Julian, Daniel and Bench as they all head their way through. Julian gets that move done up into P6 but has a 4-second gap to Diego Zorzo. That's going to be a hard gap to bring down because Diego's got DRS off those ahead. So that gap's just going to keep increasing, I think, at this rate, especially when they're fighting the way they are.
Yeah, right now my honourable mention has to be Diego Zorzo. It's not a name that I'm too familiar with, but he is putting his mark down on this lobby as a name that is not as household as Jarno, Otis, Jack, or Brendan. He's in there, right? He's in there. He's got DRS on Jarno Opmeer. He's not been able to break that. That's a statement in itself. I'm really curious to see how well he can do it. Last season, we found that some of the names we didn't know as well would sort of fall down the grid a little, and they'd be fighting for maybe 8th to 10th place, you know, as their sort of victory. Quite different this season so far.
Yeah, definitely. And Diego, I mean, looking at the grid beforehand, I expected Diego to do a good job, but I didn't quite think he'd be in the top 5 because some of those further behind are just, they're aliens in this game and they're just going to fly past. So Diego's done such a good job so far here as on lap 13. And Andre Molnar, a bit of contact between himself and Tamás Kokony as they head their way out at the final corner and back down towards turn 1. I mean, I don't know if the steward's here, but if there is, they would certainly be having a look at this one there. That was a little bit dodgy there from Andre Molnar, but nevertheless gets up into P10 as we do see once again our top 2, or second and third, switch around, and Jarno, you can see, just can't quite get within that 1 second comfortably, and that's because Otis and Jack are constantly switching around and using that DRS to their advantage. As we head back into Laycom, and this time Daniel choosing to stick behind because he knows Bench isn't close enough to make a move, and that's the thing you've got to judge. When you've got DRS, you need to be able to judge whether the car behind is close enough to make a move. If he's not, there's no point going for it. You might as well stick behind and use that DRS to your advantage at a later date.
Yeah, definitely. Jarno, just, as you say, he's just sitting around this sort of 1 second mark, and it's not just in the DRS zones. It looks like, for the time being, they're all very equal, you know? Not anyone's slow, but they're all quite equal. If anything, Jack's just a 10th and a half here every odd lap or so. I did see it down at about 7/10s, but now we're up to 1.2, right? So he's going to have to just find a little bit more, but he could definitely be just keeping his tires. This is another thing I've noticed in this game. It just brings brings it a little bit more real life is, you know, like I was in the Creator Series race last week. At one point, there was a difference of 30% between my tires and someone else's tires after the same amount of time, because I was the worst, obviously, but Alex was really maintaining his tires, and it was insane, the difference. So we don't really know who's doing that in this lobby, because you want to go long here. You want to get as much out of this stint as possible if there's not a safety car.
Of course, and I think another thing as well is obviously flicking. Beforehand didn't affect your tyre wear, but here it does. If you start flicking into corners, which you would do on F124 all of the time, that now on this game still works, but you get a lot higher tyre wear, so you need to be a lot smoother on your steering. Those that are still used to the flicking meta from last game will struggle a bit more, but those that love that smooth steering like you'd see on iRacing or, you know, a Assetto Corsa, they're going to adapt a lot quickly. And of course, not worry too much about their tyres because they're not going to be burnt through. As we do see Tom Roberts there making a move ahead of Leo Lund, jumping up into P12 in the McLaren. Leo Lund's race, hasn't gone to plan. Of course, he pitted onto Inters, but as soon as he did that, 3 laps later, we went to dries. So he was stuck down at the bottom. And that, I don't think, represents how quick Leo Lund has been so far this race. I mean, he has been really, really quick. I mean, he's what? 20 seconds off the leaders, and he's done an extra stop. Like, yeah, it says enough, doesn't it?
It does say enough. Yeah, very unfortunate. He will be definitely hoping for some sort of safety car intervention just to make sure. Obviously, we have custom weather here, so this could change, okay? Like, look around. It's becoming a nice day in Belgium, but that can change in 5 laps very easy. Brendan Lee, not really been on looking at him because he's just kind of been consistent, right?
Yeah, he's been flying up at the front. I mean, dropped to 6th, got back to 1st, and since then, it's just been status quo. Just stayed up in that top spot. Hasn't dropped that much away from Otis Lawrence. That gap's consistently 2.5 to 3 seconds. And he's just controlling his race quite perfectly. But of course, give it a few laps. Once those hards start to come into fruition, that's when we could see changes happen. And that's when we could see Brendan Lee start to drop off a little bit more compared to those down below. So of course, Brendan Lee will be sitting there judging when he needs to pit, what sort of lap stint he wants to do on these mediums, whether it's 10 laps, 20, 30. That's something he's got to decide now, so we can just think, right, it's lap 20, let's pit go. I mean, it'll be longer than that, but that's just an example.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, first time I've seen Jarno get that DRS, worth about half a second there, so that's quite interesting. There's a little swap for this battle in 6th, 7th, 8th as well. They're all being a little bit friendly, like to see that. Although, come on, soon we're going to need to start getting our elbows out, get us a chance of a safety car, right? Tom Roberts, Leo Lund, 12 and 13th. McLaren didn't really have much to say about that. Leo up into 12 for having done 2 stops, doing well. When you compare to, I don't mean to single him out, but Duncan and Eastfan as well, as far as I'm aware. No, sorry, they've all done 2 stops. So yeah, he is the leader when you're looking at the 2-stopper right now, Leo.
Yeah, definitely. He's done a great job so far. Should easily, I think, be in the top 10 by the end because he's got some really good pace. He's closing in quite nicely on the back of Tamas Kokony. And then, of course, further behind as well, Tom Roberts has also been doing a decent job. Of course, he went for that 1 stop, of course, started on the Inters and now is onto a set of the mediums, just on the back of Leo Lund, using him for that DRS just to pull himself closer to those ahead, as that is going to be a penalty for Gamal Chontos there, a 3-second time penalty. It's not been the best start for Gabor here in this one, has it? He started P4, he sits P18 with a penalty 3 seconds behind 17th. Certainly a race to forget, but that being said, another 30 laps to go. The safety car comes out now, that could change his race. So he's just got to keep in it here and hope that things will work in his favour, as we do see Leo Lund again on the back of Tom Roberts. They're just having a bit of fun, just trading that DRS because they have such a healthy gap to Luca Rapassa behind.
Yeah, definitely. Bad day for Gabor, but hope to see him there. You don't want to be making these sort of skill issue mistakes, though, with time penalties, because it's just, that's it. I think he's had enough. Not his day. Hope to see him back next time and hope for a better result. 2 pit lane DNFs within 17 laps. How many will we end up with? Who knows? But Leo Lund making a move on that McLaren with the DRS should be simple enough. Will we see any other changes? No, all staying a little bit civil right now. Everyone just sort of forming in. That gap between 6th place and 5th place, 7.3 seconds, quite a gap.
It is, yeah, 7 seconds, insane. And that's just helping Diego Zorzo and those ahead. I mean, that gap is a lot smaller. I saw it was like 4 seconds 5 or 6 laps ago. So that's just helping solidify the chances of those in the top 5 getting that top 5. I mean, unless you have a spin or make a big mistake, you're not going to drop 7 seconds on pace. You know, these are all very competitive drivers. And the good thing for the likes of Jack and Diego is that they've got DRS, so they can just keep pulling away from those behind because they use that to their advantage. As we just wash on board here with Iano Uppbeat, looking just to get within a second of Jack West. He closes in every time, but just can't keep that gap below a second. But this time, he's burning a bit of battery. You can see on his wheel around 60% there for Uppbeat. The gap's 7/10 as he finally broke into that DRS comfortability window. As we head out of the bus stop chicane, it increases again. So Jarno is just on that cusp, but I think this time around has got some DRS as we head our way down to turn 1 and then, of course, back down that Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, definitely. That was quite a cool camera shot. I like to see that one. You got to see that battery usage. He's using, but he's maintaining a lot. So you can tell that he's not putting in optimal race pace lap times, right? If he's still got a good chunk of battery. I've got a funny feeling everyone's sort of just trying to manage their tyres as well as possible. Otis Lawrence has not been gaining on Brendan as much as I would have thought now, looking at the tyre wear. It's about 8 laps. I'm guessing the mediums just still have a few more laps to go, still being the superior tyre, but yet still about that 2-second gap. You would think maybe in the next 5-10 laps Otis might get back into that DRS.
Yeah, definitely. I thought by now you'd start to see Otis gaining in, and as soon as we say that, he's brought it down by 2/10. So maybe, as we say it, it's actually hit that crossover point because it's down to 1.9 now between himself and Brendan Lee. Looking in the chat, Will Witchell, of course, one of the engineers in the community, says that it's going to rain. So that could be why those on the mediums went for the mediums. If it was going to be dry all the way, you might go hard and then go to mediums at the end. But they've chose medium now because they're going to prepare themselves, we presume, for that rain to inevitably come in this race. Or we've just been told a lie and they've decided mediums is a better tyre either way. As we head our way through and towards Stavelot, Nicholas Longate still stuck in that train from P6 down to P11.
Yeah, definitely. Still up 6 spots, so I think he'll be happy enough with what he's doing right there on the hard tyres. I would suggest that most drivers in this game are probably on a balanced tyre setup as opposed to a harder tyre setup. So I got a funny feeling the hard guys, this will be their only hard tyres. Oh, look, has a little look. Just trying to throw off Daniel, I think, who did not budge, kept his spot, but look at that grip. Seems to just have a little bit more there, still half a tank of battery. He's using, but he's not going to get there.
No, and look at that gap at the front, 1.4 now between Brendan Lee and Otis Lawrence. It's came down like a flash there between our top two. The hards are just not, the hards are now a lot stronger than the medium tyres, as of course we can see as well. The likes of Nicholas and Andre all over the rear of Julian and Daniel as they head their way down the Kemmel Straight in towards Lake Common already. Nicholas Longay looking to make the move, does make that move ahead of Daniel Kelson, jumps up into P8 here in this race. Andre Molnar will be looking to follow through on the Williams as they head their way through the Lake Common chicane. Off the circuit goes Daniel. Andre's got the inside line as they head their way through the right-hander. Up into P9 goes Andre Molnar, and that could have ended badly, as we did see for a second Daniel dip a wheel into the gravel there.
Yeah, that was a little bit cheeky, but I'm here for it. I don't know if Daniel will be so happy about that, but you know what? He made the move and he stuck it and there was no crash out. So, good move as far as I am convinced. Jack West fleeting on that DRS, like losing it. He's been about half a second. He's dropped a little. I think Otis Lawrence just kind of emptied his whole tank there and was like, do you know what? I need to get into the DRS of Brendan. Let's take a little look. Yeah, as you can see, he has minimal battery there compared to Brendan. He's pushing a little bit, but doing well.
He certainly is, and I think, well, they'll be straight into that DRS, won't they now, Otis Lawrence? That gap's 1.1. Is it enough down towards the chicane? Let's see what it comes down to. Of course, better grip for Otis out of the bus stop chicane, and it comes down to 9/10. So Otis should get some DRS aiding him up towards the Laycombe chicane. Of course, into La Source at turn 1 we go. Lap 20 of 44. And Otis now should have that DRS. Give it a lap or two, he'll be up into the lead here because Brendan Lee, there's nothing he can do on these worn medium tyres. Look at that gap. He gained, what, 6/10 just down the straight alone without DRS. He's got DRS now, so he'll fly off into P1. And then, of course, Otis will be hoping that he can keep Jack West also behind us. That's going to be a move to the inside. And no, backs out. Chooses not to go for it.
Definitely, that was strange. He wanted the outsides, which I find a bit strange. But anyway, moving on, we have Nicholas Long into 7th. Jarno Uppbeat into podium position, by the way. We didn't notice that as Otis was going for the race lead, but yeah, Jarno into a podium position now. We also have Leo Lund and Tom Roberts going again, getting a little bit of spicy there. But yes, it is now time to see what Jarno can do next to Otis and Brendan. These are definitely, especially Otis, this is like a proper rival at this point, you know. I would say they're two names that we're definitely looking at to take home trophies in this game cycle. So this will be one of the first times we get to see them interact with each other. Jarno on mediums, but Otis on hards.
Indeed, and I think Jarno, you know, he's going to be competitive here on the mediums, but I just can't see him really being that close to Otis because the hards are just a lot stronger now. Of course, the mediums we know have got higher wear than the hards. Of course, on this game in general, the wear is higher overall, so the drivers have got to combat that high wear a lot earlier into their racing stints. And we can see as well, further above, it is starting to become a little bit more cloudy, you know, less sun shining down on the track in certain parts here. So, of course, if rain does come, then we could see it all change once again as we are one lap away from hitting the halfway point of the race. And Brendan Lee leads ahead of Otis Lawrence, Jarno Opmeer in third, and then Jack West and Diego Zorzo rounding off the top five. And those two specifically doing a great job as they are two of our non-pros or of our development, you know, tier 2 level drivers that are here in the top five doing a great job.
Yeah, kicking ass, and I love to see it. All right, let's see if Otis... Oh, yeah, he's taking no chances this time. Gets them moved done long before the end. Bit of a weird moment that last lap. If I was Otis, I would always have taken the inside line, but he seemed to have wanted the outside, and Brendan was not letting it happen. But there you go. We have Nicholas Longy up to 6th. Andre Molnar up into 8th as well. Some DRS overtakes happen long before the corner. Everything looks nice and civil.
It certainly does, and we can see... I didn't expect the drop-off between the mediums and the hards to be that big. I mean, the hards are actually pulling away rather quickly. I mean, Julian's just been left behind in P9 here. Brendan Lee, I don't think is that far away from losing that DRS advantage. So maybe the mediums have got to think about pitting earlier on. If we know that rain is coming, maybe it'd be easy just to pit first and then get ready for the rain in the future. Because if it's not anywhere near yet, then they're going to be in a sticky situation because they are losing constant time to those on the hard tyres. Of course, they've played that strategy differently, and so far it is starting to work and come into fruition a bit more. The only issue is Nicholas Longay, because of obviously the hards being a bit poorer at the start of the stint, they've now got a 7-second gap to make up to the Williams ahead of him, his teammate, and then of course those further ahead. So a lot of work for Nicholas and those guys behind to do.
Yeah, definitely. That gap was about 8 seconds, though, last lap. So Nicholas Longay, he was getting slowed down by Ben Chabot-Cogne a little, I think. He's now got in front, and I'm curious to see. Give them 5 laps. We'll see what he can do here. Brendan Lee now. Is he interested in taking the lead back of the race? I would say yes, because the dirty air will affect him. Will he have a chance? Looks like Otis is pushing. This might be tough.
It will. I mean, you can just see he's about sticking into that DRS. Of course, for now, that's fine, but... Of course, laps go on, the mediums become worse. So, Brendan's just got to stick into the DRS as much as he can here, behind Otis Lawrence. Of course, Jarno Opmeer is dropping back more. 1.9 will be hitting 2 seconds shortly, so I don't think Jarno's really going to be contending for P2 just yet, as Ben Chabot-Cogne makes a swap with Nicholas Longay and jumps up into P6. Of course, Molnar behind also just outside of that 1 second gap, hasn't quite got any DRS. So, of course, the goes ahead can just swap as much as they need to. And then looking further back as well, Leo Lund has got... well, actually, that gap's increased because Tom Roberts and Tamas Kokony were separated by 3 seconds. It's now 5.2. So this is just making the strategy here worse for Leo Lund as it's Van Pookie going off the circuit there and letting Duncan Hoffman through. The race for those two, it's certainly not been what they would have probably been expecting 20 laps ago.
Yeah, right, like 2 of the biggest names in F1, F1 esports, and they're fighting for 16th place right now. Not what they would have hoped, but hey, at least they've got something to race for, right? Nothing worse than just driving around 40 laps on your own. Sorry, Larry, and on 18th, that's the race you're having right now. Hopefully we can see that change. Yeah, so everything sort of calmed down a little. Brendan very close to losing that, but he just needs to stay in that DRS for as long as he can and hope for rain. But see, looking at the weather, it's kind of getting there, but it's not getting dark quick, is it?
No, not yet. I mean, I think we can believe that rain will be on the way because it is starting to come a little bit more overcast, of course. It's custom weather. Why wouldn't they throw a bit more rain into the mix? And of course, if that happens, then we've got to start judging who's going to pit at the right time. Of course, those on the the medium, sorry, those on the hards, because they've got better grip now, they can go a little bit longer in the damp conditions and not be as slow compared to those on the warm mediums. They're going to have to bail a lot earlier, of course, because their mediums can't handle it as much as the hards. So that's also going to make that crossover point onto the intermediates or wets a little bit more interesting, as we do see there. Longue up into P6, and Diego Zorzo, for a moment, was right on the rear of Jack West, was only a tenth behind heading into one of the braking zones. So we could have seen a move for P4 there for Diego Zorzo potentially, but for now still stays in P5 on the back of Jarno Opmeer. And there we can see DRS had been broken for Otis Lawrence, and Brendan Lee will start falling down like a brick. 1.6, 1.7 is the gap at the moment. And then, of course, Jarno, if he's got the pace, might be able to bring that gap down to Brendan Lee.
Yeah, you can see him in the distance, not far at all. But he's got Jack West to worry about. Jack West is not afraid to make the overtakes. You think he's been a little bit sensible right now because they're at the end of their stint. But if he sees a gap, he is going to go for that. And Jarno's just going to have to deal with that the best way he can. Nicholas Longue, as I was saying, the DRS swapping seems to be working a little between 6th and 5th place. We're down to about 6.2 seconds. We did see that at 8 seconds a few laps ago. So they're making moves, which you would have hoped, right? Hard tyres versus medium tyres. This could be a really good decision by Nicholas, to be honest, because if he'd went on to medium tyres, he wouldn't have the potential to get back into that gap, right? But with the hards, if the medium guys have to stay out a lot longer, it could actually be a way to bring himself, Benz, and Andre back into that main train.
It could be. And as long as Nicholas and Bench work together here and keep swapping that DRS, of course, with that better grip as well, it will help bring that gap down even closer to Zorzo and those ahead. I mean, look at it now, it's 6.4. It was over 7 a couple of laps ago. So that gap is starting to come down here, especially in that second sector where a lot of it is those high and medium speed corners where you need that grip, you need that purchase on the tyre, as that's going to be a move there for Diego Zorzo to the outside of Jack West in towards the Lacombe chicane, up into P4 goes to Williams, and now sits on the back of Jarno Opmeer. Ben Shabakonyi jumping ahead of Nicholas Longue, jumps up into P6. Those two, as we know, will just keep trading that spot over and over again. And now Jack West will be looking to get past Diego Zorzo once again. I mean, you know, if Jack didn't have DRS, then it would have been, you know, a normal move. But the fact that Jack also had DRS means that Diego there had a big pace advantage, and now jumps up into P4 on merit ahead of Jack West and has the opportunity to close into Jarno. But looking at Jarno's gap as well, he's not far away from Brendan Lee. So we could have a really good brawl for P2 to P5.
Yeah, definitely. But Otis Lawrence starting to run away with this a little bit. He's up at that 3-second mark now. Jarno needs to get a move on. But of course, they're on a different tyre strat, right? So we need to see who actually comes in, just in case people want to see the tyres again. As you can see, Otis on the hard tyres right now were definitely the right call. You know, obviously hindsight is a bad thing, but he's definitely made the right call so far, because looking around, I would argue this is getting a little bit darker now.
It is, yeah, slowly. There's no blue sky, at least from what I can see. The main straight had a lot of blue sky a few laps ago. Now there's just cloud, dark and light clouds there, heading over that back straight into turn 1. So, yes, that rain might not be that far away now in this race. As we can see, of course, Jack West actually dropping outside the 1 second gap. Hasn't got the pace to keep up with 2nd to 4th. And now Jarno Opmeer has got DRS on Brendan Lee. So Jarno Opmeer is not that far away himself of jumping up into P2. Remember, Jarno started P19 in this race, pretty much at the back of the field. 16 positions gained for him, 16 positions gained for Otis Lawrence. Those two have had superb races. Of course, Jack West, Nicholas Longue, Andre Molnar, and Diego's also big hitters in this one, moving up multiple spots. And Leo Lund jumping ahead of Tom Roberts. Of course, Leo Lund, I don't think a P12 is fair for him, because on pace, he's definitely been top 5, if not top 3 possibly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's ahead of someone, and he's had an extra pit stop, right? Because that just shows, because there's not a slow driver here at all. So he's doing incredible well. He will really be craving a safety car just to sort of level the playing field, because a little bit hard done by with the strategy. But, you know, that's racing for you. Jarno, definitely in the DRS now, although Brendan fighting a little bit, just trying to break that a little tiny bit. And Diego Zorzo, he is my man of the match right now. Definitely 100% driver of the day. I expect Jarno to do this. I expect expect Otis to do these things. You know, I expect Brendan to be able to stay near the lead of this race. But I didn't expect Diego Zorzo to keep fourth, and I'm so happy to see that, and hopefully he's having a good race, might be slowly making a bigger name for himself.
Certainly. Definitely a driver that, of course, going on to the last game, he was like a tier 3 level driver.
Right.
By the end, he was comfortably top 5, top 6 in tier 2, and now he's looking to prove he's even better than that. You know, maybe he's one of those that you could throw into a tier 1 field, and he'd be flirting around the mid-pack, maybe a little bit lower, or even higher on his good days. So Diego certainly starting to prove himself here, and this is the perfect time to do so, because he's fighting with Brendan Lee, Otis, Jarno and Jack West. All drivers that have been here for such a long time, have been in WR Tier 1 for also such a long time. If he can prove now he can stay with them, then what can Luke and the owners of WR argue against him when he says, well, I want to be in Tier 1?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is what Ironman is great for, right? I've said this in the past. See, the big guys, they've got everything to lose in a lobby like this. They need to they need to perform well. But see, the smaller guys, they've got everything to gain here, because a large amount of people will see these races, and a large amount of important people will see these races in terms of decisions getting made in the future. So when you can see someone sticking with the big guys, yes, I know he started up the front, but honestly, like, that doesn't matter too much. It's the fact that he's staying at the front. We've seen plenty of people go into that red arrow, as you can see on your screen, and go all the way down, you know what I'm saying? And he is not. He has maintained one spot against some of the best drivers in the world.
He certainly has, and he'll continue on behind Jarno and Brendan here, unless he makes a mistake. I can't see him losing that DRS advantage here. But of course, here we are, lap 26 of 44, 16 and 17 laps done on these tyres for drivers. Of course, we've had word that it could start to rain. We can see the blue sky now becoming very, very little in the sky. Lots of dark cloud forming. But the rain, if it does come, isn't that far away, I don't think, here. And of course, Otis Lawrence, so far, playing that strategy well. A 5-second lead here ahead of Brendan Lee and Jarno Opmeer is insane. I mean, he's got, what, 5 championships, 2 positions behind him. And is it raining? It's raining! It's here!
Wow. Now that is a very early call from Julian. I think he's just seen a raindrop and went, I'm going straight in, I've got old tyres. We will see how that comes out to him. But yeah, let's look at, like, on Otis' screen. You can see that already. Is there any sliding? Not yet. It's probably going to take a lap or two before these tyres are struggling. Again, DRS change for Nicholas and Benchy. So, chat, who do we who's your favourite driver so far? Who are we impressed with on this race? I know I've got a few names for myself, but we want to hear from you. Let us know in the chat. Nathan, we could be are we going to end on rain? Like, could it be dry at the end? Like, that could be mad.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? I mean, what's that? 17 laps left in this race, I believe, if my maths is correct. So, it could be 17 laps of rain or 17 laps of rain and then a bit of dry. At the moment, I can see there being rain to the end. I can't see it changing again, surely not in this one. But then again, we never know. We never know what Timbo chooses to do with the weather. Nobody knows apart from him before we go into the race. Of course, the drivers, when they load in, they can see, of course, the expected weather. Apart from that, nobody else knows what we're going to expect here. But of course, Duncan and Julian went on to Inters, and I think they're working. But was it worth pitting that lap early? We'll see once others start to make a pit stop. Here's Otis Lawrence, massive slide. The rain's on the circuit. They've got to pit now, as we see them all work their way into the pit lane once again. And Nicholas Longue is on the short end of the stick again. He's now only 3 seconds back from Diego, so he might stick a lap longer here unless he just goes for the double stack.
Definitely. Julian may have nailed this. I'm really curious to see where he comes out now. According to the pit stop, we'll stay on him for a few seconds as basically everyone is now into the pits. He's still got quite a way to go. I think he's not going to be catching up much. Otis Lawrence will already be coming out of the pits, maintaining first place. And there we go. Majority of the drivers. Nicholas has stayed out. No, he's not. Apologies about that. He is now on. He's been stopped, but in the pit lane for way too long. Diego Zorzo with a 10-second penalty. No! He's been doing so well.
Across the pit lane exit. I mean, I don't know if that gets removed or not. I mean, I presume it would. 10 seconds for that is harsh. But then again, they know the rules, don't they? So they have to play by them. But looking in the chat as well, we have a question asking, would I rather be on wets on a full dry track or dries on a full wet track for 2 laps to go? I mean, surely, Scott, you've got to agree it's got to be wets on a full dry track. I mean, that's not that hard, right?
Yes. I mean, yeah, I mean, this game is easier, right? This game is a lot easier. Wet tires on a dry track is actually not that bad, to be honest.
Driving on a full wet is pain.
Yeah. It's a difficult one, to be honest. Looking at the rain, it's quite light, but look how much Otis Lawrence struggled. He was on hard tyres, right? So it's not like his tyres were 60% worn. They were decent enough, and that was him nearly gone, so it must be very wet out there. Be a couple of little issues with the game recently with wet. Sometimes it's hard to tell just how wet it is unless you're actually driving it on the track, so it must be a bit worse than what we can see.
Yeah, certainly. As they make their way through the Lavagna chicane, or the Piff Paff chicane, whatever you want to call it, with Brendan Lee, of course, still in P3, but that gap that Otis made at the start of the stint has paid dividends. 7.5 seconds here is insane, especially when it's Jarno Opmeer in second and Brendan Lee in third. I mean, that just puts into perspective how good Otis Lawrence at the moment is performing. And I mean, if this is something he can keep up in normal races, could he be one of those that we're looking for championships and league racing? Possibly at this point, because he's so far really, really quick. As he would see Diego Zorzo, of course, with that penalty. I'd love to know actually if it would be removed. So if anybody who's actually part of the league is in here, let us know, because I mean, I can't see that being that sticking. That's a silly penalty, isn't it? 10 seconds for crossing the pit lane exit line.
Yeah, I mean, technically you're gaining an advantage in some scenario, maybe not this scenario specifically, but there is ways that you could be gaining an advantage with that, especially if you're trying to get in front of someone. I've seen it in other races recently. Yeah, we'll see about that. Diego Zorzo, though, let's just hope it just gets a fire in his belly, right? Does he care about the points right now? Does he actually care? If he can finish this race in a podium position, regardless of penalties, he's made a statement today, you know?
Oh, easily as they get close to contact. Brendan Lee looks to go for the up and under. In towards the right-hander, a bit of tyre hooking between the two, and Brendan Lee gets out back in third. I mean, that was a close one, wasn't it? Originally, heading into the braking zone, Diego was ahead, but he broke a little bit too late, and of course then allowed Brendan Lee back up into that battle, and Brendan jumps up into third once again here in this race. But the good thing is for these two, they can have a bit more of a battle, because Jack West is 2 seconds behind, Nicholas Longa is 5 seconds behind them, so they can afford to have a bit of a scuffle here and there and fight it out for that third place. But because of how quickly we saw Diego on the back of Brendan Lee, I don't think that's going to be the last time we see those two battle, as we do have a battle here into no name between Tom Robertson and Duncan Hoffman. A bit naughty there from the McLaren, as Duncan gets pushed into the gravel and loses a position to Leo Lund.
Yeah, that was a bit naughty. He's not going to be happy about that. Lovely guy, but he will not be happy about that. I'm sure we have something to say. Although I do like to see just getting your elbows out. Like, that's it. That's what we're here to see. We're not here to see 20 cars amicably driving on the track. We want to see a little bit of elbows out. So, yeah, like, I know what you're saying about Diego and Brendan, but you don't want Jack West to catch up in this situation, because he is fierce. He's been a little bit slow, but he's been like good slow, right? He's kept a really good position, but he's maybe just not brought our attention too much to him, but he's just kind of been there doing his thing. That gap's getting longer between Otis and Jarno. That's something.
Yeah, definitely. It's starting to increase more and more. 8.2. I mean, I think as well, as we do see yet again another move. This time it's Leo Lund on the McLaren of Tom Roberts, as they head their way out of the final corner, back down towards turn 1. And we have 3 cars within half a second of each other pretty much. Into the source we go. Lap 30 or 44, nobody choosing to make a move. They all stay in their positions behind. But as we see, once again, further ahead, I think Diego Zorzo's going for the move here. Scott, that gap's down to a 1/10.5 as they head into the chicane.
Oh, I love to see it. Has to stay behind, unfortunately. Will I get a better exit here? Nope, seems like Brendan will just have enough. Will he send? Oh, no, he decides not to. But yeah, look how close. He's almost pushing him around that corner. That dirty air will definitely be affecting Diego. Again, just showing how well he's doing. Brendan seems to be struggling a little bit on pace here on these intermediate tyres. Maybe he just needs a few more laps to find his feet. But yeah, Diego's all over him, right?
Yeah, he is. He's absolutely flying here. Is Diego Zorzo. We have a yellow flag, but I think that's a glitch, because there's no yellow flag for me. I can't see anybody slowing down. As we do have Leo Lund making a move ahead of Tom Roberts. Oh no, not this corner again with Tom in the McLaren. And this time he goes for it, but luckily doesn't push anyone off. They both make it through unscathed. And now Duncan Hoffland was looking for it into Poo on corner. I mean, surely that's not a place to go up the inside, especially in the wets, but they stay behind, does Duncan Hoffland. And now Leo Lund will be looking to get on the attack once again into the chicane. Is he going to go for a late move? He is. To the inside goes Leo Lund, and he gives Tom a taste of his own medicine through there. Up into P12 goes Leo Lund, and Duncan Hoffland says, thank you very much. I'll go into 13th too, as we head into Stavalo.
Ah, this is what I needed to see, guys. Let's go. I've got a bad feeling, though, that an accident is coming. But wow, what a send Leo was getting. Look how much he slowed down, actually. Duncan's just flew away with this. Did Leo just go slow there? What's happening here?
I don't know. I think it could have been Tom Roberts up the inside. Makes a move. A bit of a tap. This is getting personal between Roberts and Lund here as they head down to the chicane. Is he going to go for it? Yes, he is, isn't he? Of course he is. Up the inside goes Leo Lund. That's a bit late. Tom's got the inside line as they head their way through. No, sorry, he's on the outside as they head their way out to the final corner. And I mean, listen, it's a bit aggressive, but Scott, this is what we want to see, isn't it? There's no esports titles on stake here.
Oh, I'm pretty sure the car's touched there. I hope Tom didn't get damaged. But yes, this is what I want to see. They've all been too nice and neat this race for me so far. Get your elbows out, show what you're worth, and show what you're made of. But you know what? Duncan Hoffland, he's gone. He's gone. This has got personal, and we're going to stay on this for a few seconds because I feel like something's going to happen. He's sending it as much as he can. He's raging.
Oh, what a battle this is. And now you can see Tom Roberts burning the battery. Leo Lund's got damage as well on his front left side. He goes for the move into Laycom. Oh, we went for it, but had to back out. Didn't have enough purchase into the corner. Stays in P14. But what a battle that was between those two. Listen, in a league race, there'd be penalties thrown out for that. But here, there's not. It's a bit of fun. That's all we're here for. It's the first part of the game. The drivers want to settle themselves in. Let them have some battles. I mean, if this was 5-lappers, they'd be doing the same thing. Let them get on with it. As we go back to the racing further ahead, Ben Shabakonyi on the back of Nicholas Longay here. It's also been one of those drivers that hasn't been quick, hasn't been slow, has just been consistently there, and currently on for a couple of points.
Yeah, and fair play to him as we're going to go back down to the bottom there, just see what's happening between Leo and Luca. It's getting spicy again. I am loving to see this. So Diego Zorzo going up to 40. He's sticking with Brendan, but he's not been able to make the move yet. He's getting close, but he's just not had that little move there. He might be trying to keep his tyres well. Maybe the opportunity's been missed. I'm not too sure. As you can see, the exit speed off Brendan there was quite strong.
It was, yeah. Brendan Lee looking really strong here in the corners, but on the straights, Diego's got a bit more of an advantage, it seems, as we do see. Nicholas Longay on the back of Andre Molnar. In towards turn 1 they go. And, of course, Andre, they're just trying to keep that P6 spot. Has got a decent gap to Jack West, of course, nearly 5 seconds. But, of course, if that gap's already that big, you might as well now spend his time keeping Nico and those behind us. Here we go. There's also, again, you can see Brendan Lee defending immediately, but knows he's not going to catch up. So, Brendan Lee backs out and goes to the next side. But Leo Lunders, oh, no, it's in the pit. So I thought for a second he would have got into contact there, but no. Leo Lund from P2, unfortunately, takes a DNF, and that's 3 of our non-pros, unfortunately, out of the race. Leo Lund, Gabor Chontos, and Liam Stevens.
Yeah, I think maybe emotions put a bit of play into there. It's a stressful thing racing at these high stakes, but hope to see him back next time doing a little bit better. And Andre as well in 7th place, holding his own, right, in a sandwich between Nicholas Longay and Ben Shabakonyi. It's not the easiest sandwich to be in.
No, it's not. It's a bit of a scary one, isn't it, for Molnar here? I mean, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near these two in a race. Never mind, one behind and one ahead. So, and the issue is, and also it's great for experience because Andres needs to learn now how to look behind and look ahead at the same time. And that's difficult. I know it sounds impossible when you think about it, but racers, they've got to do it. They've got to make sure they know what's going on behind them and what's going on ahead. And that's what develops that racecraft. I mean, Andre Molnar, I don't think has ever stepped foot in a Tier 1 lobby. He's always been a Tier 2 driver. And now he gets a chance to race against the pros, those who have been in esports for many years. I mean, Ben Shabakonyi has never been one of those to be competitive in F1 esports, but he's always been a third driver. He's always been in and around that competitive scene and has been there since, I think, 2020, 2021. Nicholas Longay has been here since 2018, if I remember correctly. They've been here for a long time. So this is perfect for Andre to learn from them. And same goes for Julian, who's a lot more competitive, but has still got to learn those key things when it comes to racecraft here.
Yeah, definitely. And you need to, like, as was said a few times, you really need to get your elbows out in a clean and fair way, but it's very easy in a lobby with big names to get swallowed up by some of these big drivers that they don't expect you to get out of the way, but they're going to send it a little bit harder on you. They don't know you too well. They're going to be like, look, this is my lobby, get in there. So if you're one of these newer drivers coming into a lobby like this, we don't want you to be dirty, but we need you to get your elbows out and really put your mark saying, do you know what, you're going to stay behind me. You know, if Diego's talking to Jack, if Jack catches up, he needs to say to him, look, you're staying behind me, mate, okay? I want this podium.
Yeah, definitely. That's what he's got to do. He's got to keep in here all the way to the end. We've got, what, 11 laps to go? You know, if you can stay in the top 5 for 33 of them, another 11 can't, you know, it can't do you much harm here, can it, at all? But I've got to say, Scott, this race has flew by. I mean, it is absolutely flew by. We've already gone way over what we'd normally see in a 50% race, and it feels like we've only just started. We've been here an hour and a half.
That's magic. Yeah, like sometimes a no safety car race can be boring, but I've been entertained here. There's maybe like been 2 laps where nothing's happened. Other than that, I've had like 31 laps of great battles. Brendan Lee's 6. Like, Otis Lawrence, like, we need to say it, right? Like, he's literally flying away. You find this sometimes when someone's just destroying a lobby, is that you never go onto them much because you're looking at other people. But come on, 9 seconds. He's gained since Jarno got free air, and as much as I love Jarno, but since they both had free air, it's been about 2.5 seconds that Otis has pulled away.
Yeah, it's insane. Otis is absolutely flying, and he knows at this point that he can, I mean, he probably doesn't even need to push that hard because the gap's that large to Jarno. He doesn't need to force it into corners because that's just going to, you know, give you more risk and more chances of making a mistake. So he can just comfortably drive along in that top spot now. As we do see Jack West now bringing that gap down to Diego Zorzo. So, of course, a few laps ago when we saw Zorzo right on the back of Brendan Lee, does that suggest he maybe burnt up his tyres a bit much? Because now we can see Diego Zorzo's losing Brendan Lee, and Jack West is gaining it rather quickly. That gap now, just 6/10.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to make... Nah, he's not going to be able to make a move here. Let's go to 9th place because Julian in that kit car is getting very close to the back of Ben Shabelkonya. Don't think he's got enough to make the move, though. Just has to back off a little. Didn't seem to have the straight line speed that you would have wanted there. But let's see around the corners. Yeah, you can see he's gaining. He must have higher wings.
Yeah, he's flying, isn't he, through the corners on the back of Ben Shabelkonya. That gap now, a couple of tenths as they head into the next braking zone. No move being made just yet here by Julian Klaffenbach, but I don't think it'll be long before he jumps up into P8.
Definitely not. Jack West's getting very close now. We were just talking about this 5 minutes ago. This is when we need to find out what stuff Zorzo's made out of. Okay, he's definitely the slower car in the last lap and a half. Oh, there was almost a look of a send there. Maybe not even deliberate, because Diego did go a little wide there. He's going to be feeling the pressure now. This is it. This is you fighting for 4th place. It goes round the outside and saying no chance. Pushed off the track by Diego Zorzo. He must be listening to us now. He must be listening to us, Nathan, because he got his elbows out there.
Indeed. I mean, that was a little bit over the edge, I think, there by Zorzo. Only because there's gravel there. I mean, if it was a normal corner, it wouldn't be that bad, but that gravel it's horrible, especially on the exit there, because you've got to carry so much speed through all the way down this long straight. And I just want to clear one thing up as well. I've seen so many people ask, is Ron Hara here? You know, where's Ron Hart? He's a reserve here. He chose to be a reserve. He doesn't want full time. I see people saying, oh, he's not here because I don't want him. No, that's not the case. They wanted him here, but he chose to be a reserve. So all those in the chat can calm down. He'll be here whenever he wants to race. He's got a lot of bigger things to be looking at the moment.
Like, I know he gets a little bit of hate, but honestly, some races you need a Ron Hart, right? You need a Verstappen.
Exactly.
You need someone just to kind of throw the cat among the pigeons and just get a bit of drama going, like 100%.
I mean, I love Ron Hart's racing. I mean,
it's great.
It's a bit over the edge, but you've got to be aggressive. That's what makes champions. I mean, he's not won yet, but he will be. I'll guarantee.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes you just need someone. You know, it's like when we had Elray in the lobby last season. Didn't give a damn who he was next to. No. He was going for it. Sometimes you need that, right? If you have 20 Ron Harts in a race, you're having a fun race. That's all I'm saying. So Julian up into 8th place, doing quite well. Made that stick quite comfortable. Ben Shabelkonya had no answer for that. Jack West not being able to catch back up to Diego Zorza. Jack West is going to be raging, right? He's going to be wanting some justice for that move.
I wouldn't want to hear his team radio. That's for sure. Not a good idea.
He's Van Pookie. We've not talked about him at all this race. Like, this isn't a driver that I expect to see in the top 5. It's just not happened for him this race.
No, it's not been the best, has it, for Istvan? And it's a shame because, I mean, if you look at F124 back at, the F1 sim racing season, he was you know, on the podium a couple of times. Mercedes at one point were leading the constructors for I think an event and a half. He's a really, really quick driver. Of course, didn't get his debut till last season. Of course, spent a season with Ferrari on the bench pretty much. Then the last season, season before, sorry. Then last season he got into Mercedes full time, and well, hopefully this game can be another game where he can prove himself. But this race just hasn't gone to plan, has it? Unfortunately, maybe he needed Danny with him. Maybe that was it. Everyone needs Danny Brage now, but he's not here, unfortunately.
It's dry. It's completely dry, Nathan.
No, they've got a pit, haven't they?
This is great. So we've essentially got a 5-lapper. Oh, just as we're talking about that, Nicholas Longe makes the jump, him and Julian going for it. Gets a 10-second time penalty. What are my guys doing? There's too eager getting into that pit lane. We're either going to see them all get removed for some reason, or they're just too eager today. But this is interesting. Softs, mediums, it's got to be mediums.
Is it? Ooh, softs and mediums being used here. That's interesting. So a mix of strategy for the last 9 laps of the race. I mean, surely softs are a bit overboard here. There's 9 laps to go around a 1 minute and 50-second lap time.
I think so. Tire wear is very high. I think they're going to be regretting this come lap 42. And they're not going to be like completely off the pace, but they're definitely going to be very worn, 30s, 40% compared to mediums. I do think the mediums were the correct choice, but we will find out soon enough.
We certainly will. Softs for Hoffland, softs for Klaffenbach, and everybody else going for the medium tyres here. So, interesting. I mean, Julian's got nothing to lose now. He's got a 10-second penalty. Not ideal there for Julian, but at least can still take a position in his pride, no matter the penalty. Now, those in the top four will be safe, but then behind, that's when you start to play a bit of a risk of falling behind Nicholas Longe and those behind.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught in some of these little battles that we've seen. They've just ate away time, right? It's been so slow for them. Jack West got right back up. Yeah, man. I got a funny feeling he's going to do a send before getting to the pits. He is using that battery up. He's going for it. But Diego Zorzo is keeping that gap. Let's just look out for Sen as Otis now comes into the pit. He's got nothing to worry about. Jarno as well.
Is he sending it? No, he's not. I mean, I would have loved him to, but I think we might have been a little bit too far back there. 5/10. So no, but they head into the pits. They'll go into mediums or softs. What do they choose to do? That is a question. Hards for Uppmeyer. Now, is that because he didn't have any mediums in his range to use?
Yeah, he had what? He should have had another set of mediums, as far as I'm aware. He should get, unless he's went the harder compound of tires and had 2 hards instead of 2 mediums. I would imagine you usually have 2 mediums though, so interesting choice. He does this all the time. Honestly, he never goes the correct strategy and somehow wins.
Yeah, he tries something outlandish and somehow it works. Oh no, Istvan gets a 10-second penalty. I mean, this is a race to call off here, a race to write off and never remember for Istvan Pukki. Not been his night, unfortunately. But where's Diego Zorzo? How's he P10?
Wait, what?
What's happened?
There literally must have been something. I didn't even see massive overtakes happening there, as we have Julian into 6th place. By the way, Nicholas Longe is now in 5th. He is undercut. There's been an undercut that's happened, I think, and that's what's happened. So he's now P10, 3.3 seconds off Daniel. He was right next to Jack West, who is in 4th. Yeah, something's happened there. I don't know if anyone can let us know, but Diego Zorzo had lost about 5 spots in that pit stop.
No, that's a shame because he was doing such a good job here. Yeah. He'll still get P9 because of the penalty for Julian.
Oh, yes. He served it.
Ah, see, I knew we were forgetting something. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I mean...
We got there, mate.
I know, I mean, sometimes I think why we even commentators, we can't remember penalties.
That is great. Andre Molnar into 7th place as well. Good day for him as well. Now that Diego Zorzo's went down there, we need to look at Andre Molnar now as the guy, as I will not be joining your game, people. Leave me alone. Daniel Kelchin as well in 9th place, doing very well. But yeah, Jarno on hards, but catching a little. It's a bit unfortunate. I don't think he's got much to lose with Brendan. Can he catch 5.8 seconds in like 6-7 laps? I don't think so.
I mean, if he can, that is insane. But
he just needs to unretire, right, if that's the case.
Yeah, literally, get back into esports next season. Kick will be ready for him once again. I mean, I know Brendan Lee's still part of RHG at the moment. I think he's just doing more content creation. So, there are opportunities there. If he becomes a ghost on this game, get him back in.
I tell you, this will be good for the setups that he's been running so far. The Brendan Lee setups will be doing well, keeping 3rd place in an Ironman lobby. Very nice to see. Andre Molnar as well, as we're saying, 7th. Does have Ben Shabelkonia in that DRS range, and Daniel Kilton as well. So this may be a little bit of a group to look at, but the gaps are a bit too far this lap.
Yep, they certainly are. I mean, Andre Molnar is also going to be looking to pressure on Julian Klaffenbach. And, I mean, the good thing is, give it 3 laps, the softs will start to die off rather quickly. So, Longuet, Molnar, Shabelkonia will all be in a decent spot to probably make a couple of overtakes, as we can see the penalties there. 10 seconds for Klaffenbach, Pookie and Sprogis, and then 3 for Rapasa and Torquay. Of course, they will be track limits. The other ones will be for speeding in the pit lane, which has been a lot more common today than I thought it would have been. We've had 4 people speeding, 5 now, speeding the pit lane, because Gabor Chantos also did it. So that's not something I really expect. I mean, in most lobbies, you never see anybody getting speeding in the pit lane penalties.
Yeah, it's a bit. The braking has been something that's changed quite dramatically between F124 and F125. You need to brake early. You know, you need to brake a lot earlier in this game, and I think it's just caught a few people out in the heat of the moment. Shame to see, but you know, get your mistakes out early in the game cycle rather than later. I'm sure they'll remember this for a few weeks.
Oh yeah, they certainly will. I mean, if you're at the back though, I don't think you want to remember this race ever. The likes of Pookie, Rapasa, Torquay and Sprogis, this is a race to forget, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to remember it, but then again, you always do. You load into a lobby and you think, well, let's try not to be P16 today.
yeah, I know all about that. Like Sprogis as well. I'm a bit perplexed how he's been so slow in this race. Usually when I see him in a lobby, he's doing quite well.
He did an extra stop, I think. That's why he's 25 seconds back. I don't think it's 25 seconds off the pace, because then I'd be challenging him in the race if that's the case. As Molnar gets ahead of Klaffenbach, but it was an easy move, wasn't it? To be fair. But then again, you start to think, are the softs not working because Klaffenbach's on the softs, Molnar's on the mediums?
Yeah, genuinely 4 laps. I know it sounds like ridiculous to say softs are only going to get 4 competitive laps, but it really is the case in this game. They're almost, in my experience now, basically a qualifying tyre, and I'm just sticking with mediums and hards now. Even 2 sets of hards sometimes, which I'm thinking Jarno's done. Maybe someone can correct me, but I feel like it's the only reason why he would be on. But there you go, Sprogis, fastest lap, still showing that he's got the pace. He's just that it's not his day.
Been listening to us. His engineer said, right, fastest lap, no questions, and he's done it, proving he's got the pace, and has brought the gap down now to 24 seconds. Well, never mind, he's gone back to 25, but it was for a second down to 24 to Larry Torquay. But look at the gap there between Notice and Jarno. 10.2, sorry, at the moment. I mean, I expected it to go up, but of course, it's not going to go up that much, because at the moment their tyres aren't that much different at this point in the race, especially when both of them aren't pushing at all. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they are.
Yeah, it's crazy. To be fair, he's really just put his dominance down on this lobby. Honestly, I know I would like to make some excuses for Jarno, but he's had clean air for quite a while. I know the tyres is a bit different now, but they were on this similar strats. I think this has genuinely just been a pace thing, and I think Jarno's just going to have... This is going to be a little lesson to him, saying, like, okay, start of a game cycle, I'm going to need to go back and see what I can do. Although I do know that Jarno's been struggling with some force feedback issues with his equipment since the new game, so who knows what's happened. Maybe it's not a complete thing, as we have a change in position. Ben Shabelkonia getting back into 7th, saying to Julian, nope, I want that spot.
Oh, and we can see Longuet on the back of Jack West here. Good B move for 4th place as they head their way into Lacombe. Nicholas Longuet, of course, started down in P15 in the Williams today, and now he's looking for a top 4. Top 3, definitely off the cards. But a top 4 more than possible here for Nicholas Longuet, and also a top 5 could be possible for Andre Molnar, who started in, I think also near the back for Molnar. I think it was around P13 in the Alpine for Molnar, up to P6. Brilliant for someone who doesn't race in WOR Tier 1.
Yeah, he's nailed it. He's nailed it. I was all about Zorzo earlier. Unfortunate about that 10-second penalty, because he would have been up there. But Andre, right now, he's my guy where I'm looking at going, do you know what, you're making a good name for yourself this race. Just keep it up and see if you can get that spot on Nicholas Longuet as well. But he is on a mission as well. He's not made the same stratospheric kind of rise as Jarno and Otis, but hey, he's up there.
He certainly is. And 4 laps to go here. Of course, we've got a mix of softs, mediums and hards. Well, only one driver on the hards, and that's Jarno Opmeer. Always goes for something a bit different and outlandish. And let's see, what can we expect from Nico and Andre here? Looking to get past Jack West. Both have got close gaps to each other, so if the opportunity does present, I'm sure we could see Andre also look for a move ahead of Nicholas Longe as they head into the source at turn 1. We've got Ben Shabakony as well in the mix. Julian Kleffenbach, I think, just going to drop outside that 1 second eventually. That pace on the softs just not working out for him. And now Longe has 5/10 to Jack West. Surely he can get this one down this back straight.
Yeah, definitely. Let's keep on board with Nicholas as well. Get a nice shot as Andrea will be definitely wanting to make a move as well. They're going very wide, just making sure he's getting no space. Andrea has to stay in sec. Jack Nicholas as well, 4th and 5th, and Ben Shabakony is very close to the back as well. Yeah, a little bit of just kind of getting your elbows out, taking up the available space, and it did work for Jack West there. Will it work next lap? I do not know.
Well, that was a close to contact one there. Molnar nearly ended up in the barriers for a moment when he was up the inside on the grass of Jack West, but Jack held his own, sent it deep into the corner to keep himself ahead of Longe and Molnar. And I've got to say, I think, Scott, this is the furthest I've seen Jack West make it in an Ironman race. Normally, he's out on lap 2.
Yeah. Yeah, he's had a bit of bad luck in the past, but you know what? He's kept the pace up. Sadly, he's not been able to compete, to be honest. But like, let's say like the top 4, right, have kind of been great, but they've not been able to compete with each other either, right? Those gaps are quite big for your top 4.
Yeah, the gaps are insane, aren't they, between those in the top 4? I mean, 10 seconds, 11 seconds between Otis and Jarno, 3 back to Brendan, 8 back to Jack West, and then we have just battles behind consistently. Molnar and Shabakony in towards the final corner. You can see the McLaren goes deep to have the inside line. Slight bit of contact as they head their way back down to turn 1. Who's going to come out ahead? It will be the McLaren.
Yeah, definitely. Andrea will not like that. I'm sure he'll have something to say come the DRS straight. But yeah, definitely this will help Nicholas though if they keep fighting, and Jack as well. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep it this one. Let's jump on board with Nicholas Longe and see if he has anything to say.
We'll have to see as we head our way back down towards the Maycomb chicane. Nicholas Longe is bringing it down. Is it enough with the DRS to make a move? No, not close enough. I think he probably would have been sitting on none down that back straight to get that battery up ready for the last lap dash for P4. Of course, Molnar and Shabakony will also be preparing, ready to go and make moves themselves. And then Daniel Kelson in P8 also will be looking to see if he can get involved somewhere in case someone runs a bit wide or maybe gets a bit of damage on that final lap. We have a great battle from P4 down to P9 here.
Yeah, definitely a little train forming. I'm looking at Andre Molnar, seeing what he can do. Can he get in front of bench? And Nicholas, that's going to be his goal. Jack West keeping that distance quite well without having DRS. He seems to be. But then again, is it like F124? Do you want to be at the start of a train coming into the last lap, or can you, this time actually keep the speed? Because we saw it time and time again in the last game. The DRS, ERS was too strong, and you did not. You even had DRS tricking, right?
Yeah, indeed, all the time DRS chicken. Yeah. Came into fruition, especially on the last lap of a race. We'll see if that happens here today. I'm not sure, because I think the best thing to do on this game is just get the burners on quickly, get your foot down, and just try and pull away. That's the best thing to do. There's no point holding around and trying to drop behind, because the dirty air exists. Sometimes you might not be able to get that position back if you lose it in the first place. Yeah. As we head our way back down to turn 1, Molnar yet to get on the attack, but I think has now got into a bit of a stalemate position. He's got the pace, but not enough to kind of catch up and get back past Shabakony.
Yeah, he does have the battery though, we can't. Oh, he's found Pookie, that'll probably be the end of his race today, DNFs, and that is our 4th. We have Nicholas Longe getting quite close to the back of Jack West. Does he go for it? A little bit of defending. Going for it, nearly 3 there. Nope. Okay, yes. Oh, that may have been damage on the McLaren there, but that got a little bit spicy.
I mean, I'm not sure what Jack did there. It seemed like he broke for a second heading into there. Maybe he chose to just back out and let Nicholas go ahead. We'll have to see. But Shabakony, Molnar will be hungry now to get past Jack West, because he'll be losing pace now. You can see once one has bit the bullet, the others also follow through too. And of course you see a yellow flag, but that is just Istvan Pookie's car just pulling over to the side before they head up the hill. But 12.5 seconds now separates the top 2. 10 seconds between Brendan Lee and Nicholas Longe as they head on to the final lap. Scott, Otis Lawrence could probably slow down here.
right. Could probably just pause the game and finish it in AI, to be honest. It's been that impressive a victory for him. Almost boring for him, but do you know what? That's the way he probably wants it. Just wants to win every race by 12 seconds and not have to fight many people. But let's just, let's forget this was a reverse grid. He's went up 16 positions. The only person to have more is Jarno, but he's had nothing to say in the last half lap. Since they got back out onto that second set of intermediate tyres, Otis has just flew away with this.
Yeah, he certainly has. It's been unstoppable. You know, P17 to P1 is insane. Jarno, P19 to P2. And then Nicholas as well, P15 to P4. They've all had good races, but it shows no matter what lobby they're in, no matter what they're presented with, they always come out near the top because they just it's like it just happens magically. No one knows how, but they do. They end up in the top spots no matter what.
They just have a way, right? Okay, this is it. Last lap, DRS for these drivers. Let's see Ben Shabakonia into 5th, Jack West into 6th, Andre Molnar getting his elbows out, gets into 6th place. Can he keep that spot at least? Yes, he can. Does he get anything to say to Ben Shabakonia to get into 5th place? If he's going to do it, it's going to have to be now or never, or save it for that final Sector 3, as we have Otis Lawrence already about to start Sector 3. That's just how far ahead he is.
Yeah, it's been insane. Otis Lawrence, of course, last esports season was, I think, a multi-time race winner. Of course, pole as well back in Jeddah. F1 25 game, brand new game, of course, an evolution from 24, but there's been a lot of changes. Going into this, no one really had any expectations of what was going to happen. But Otis Lawrence went from P17 and now leads by 12 seconds here on the final lap around Spa-Francorchamps as he heads out of the final corner. Ironman League round 1. The victory goes to Otis Lawrence in the V-Carb, and second place, rather far down the field, Scott, it'll be Jarno Uppmeyer.
Yeah, you can just see that gap in real distance, right? Just how long it was. Jarno very happy with second place, though. But we have Daniel Kelson getting very close for 8th place, fighting for 7th with Jack. We're going to go down to the final couple of corners. Don't count out Julian as well. Nearly went for it. 2 wides. Will the space be left? No, it will not. Straight off the track. Jack West having none of it. Julian gets in front, gets that 8th place. Will have a time penalty and gets another. Oh, he serves his time penalty. Whoa, we got a bit of drama for the end there. And again, Duncan Hoffman, not a day to forget for him. But you know what? Fair play for finishing. Jack West, DNFs, goes all the way down. Don't even know if he finished. Whatever.
No, he did, but it's because he left the session straight away and that bug exists.
Perfect. Oh, wow. Okay. That was something, right? That was something. 12.138 seconds. 100% race with no safety car, and I just need to thank all the drivers for giving us a good entertaining watch there. There's another universe where that could have been a very boring race, and you know what, I had a bunch of fun there.
Oh, same as well for me. I'm going to see if we can get our top 3 in for an interview. It would be great to hear off them and see how they're making the start of the game, but what a race that was. Absolutely insane there. Wow. Between everybody in the field. I mean, it was just an insane race, wasn't it? We have Otis in the waiting room, so we'll drag him up rather shortly. And have you got an interview screen this time, Scott, or not?
No, I usually bring us both onto screen, but sadly we have lost your camera. If there's any way you reset that, will get you right back in. Oh, what an intense race that was, as I can see. Let's get your beautiful face back into the stream, because that was something, right? That was a banging race. So happy to see it. Oh, great. F1 25 racing is fun. There you go. Wave to the beautiful people. Nathan, you are back. Let's look at the podium just for a wee second. Just, you know, I love seeing them without liquid in the champagne, and they're just kind of chucking empty bottles. I do love that.
Is my camera back now or not?
Yes, you are good. Say hello to everyone. Wow. What a race, mate. All right, we got to get some interviews in here, right? We got to get some interviews. Bring Otis in for us and you take it away.
Let's drag him up. Right, Otis, welcome in. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Nathan Richards.
Perfect. So, that was just insane, wasn't it? 12 seconds ahead of Jarno in the end. Of course, going into this, nobody knew what the weather was going to be or anything. But starting in 17th, what did you really expect at the start of it?
I kind of knew it was going to be a bit of chaos at the start of the race. You know, I'm very happy you got the race win here. Kickstarts the game quite nicely. Just got to keep doing this now from now onwards. You know, I'm very happy. You know, team I've worked with are very good at the moment. Can't say what the team is, but you know, I'm very happy.
Indeed. So preparation starting quite nicely. Of course, we've got a brand new game. Of course, there's a lot of similar things to 24, but also a lot of big changes, especially when it comes to, you know, sort of like the dirty air, the tyre wear and stuff. So do you think that league racing will be a lot more interesting in this game? Because I think this race isn't really much to look into, is it? 100% race with a mixed up grid.
Honestly, we'll see what happens in league racing. I think it didn't help that it was raining, no safety cars. We didn't really see any battling throughout the pack. So, maybe it's a bit boring for you guys, but I certainly enjoyed it. But hopefully next race there'll be a bit more action at the front.
I mean, it was boring for P1, 2, and 3, but then behind it was just chaos. Everybody was looking for moves everywhere. So maybe next time, just go down to the midfield and make it a bit more interesting.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway, that's all from me. Congratulations on the win. Anything from you, Scott?
Yeah, so, new game, new man. Obviously, you've been doing incredibly well. Looking into F125, are you enjoying this game? Is it a step up from F124? How are you adjusting to the new game?
The game is much better than the last game. Everyone probably can agree as well that the game's just far clear of last game in terms of physics, just the game in general. I've enjoyed it a lot. They've done a really good job this game. Obviously, there's a few things need to work on, but all the main stuff has been fixed, and I'm really happy what they've done. They've done a good job. So
that makes me happy, because not just yourself, ourselves, amateur racers as well, and the general public, it seems to be everyone's just buzzing for this new game. You've definitely made your mark. Like, what was that finishing gap? 13 odd seconds to Jarno. Like, that's insane. Not only could you get away from him in the intermediate tires, and then you went on to the mediums. We were a bit surprised with Jarno going on to the hards. We figured maybe he went harder allocation and maybe didn't have another set of mediums, but you certainly nailed the strats. For people watching, anything you'd like to say to them? Because you've given us a very, very boringly entertaining race. You dominated that lobby. We didn't even get on to you too much because there was battling away and you were just doing your own thing. Anything you want to say to your fans?
Just stay tuned for next race. Enjoy it.
It doesn't have that many, Scott.
hopefully more safety cars next race.
Yes, mate. Honestly, Otis. Anything else from you, Nathan?
No, just a congratulations, Otis. Great race, of course, a great way to start the game. So hopefully it continues on.
Thank you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, brilliant. Take care,
Have a good
mate.
one, mate. Bye.
Oh, Nathan, right? But I'm just saying, okay, I've watched races without safety cars and I do get bored.
Yep.
And I know he was bored because he done too well. But that was banging. Guys at home, did you enjoy that? See, for a full-on strategic masterclass? Like, what is that,
Scott,
right?
I'm actually disappointed in you today because I didn't hear a banging race once.
Yeah.
Apart from now, you left it all the way till the end.
I did. Look,
no, it was insane.
It's little Easter eggs, right? I'm just going to throw them in very carefully. I bought a thesaurus. I've learned some new words for this season, and I am so ready to go. It's genuinely been such a great start. Do you know what I love the most? Is that everyone of all levels seems to be enjoying this game. Yep. And do you know what? We went through a hard time last year, okay? Like, the morale was in the F1 gaming community was low, right? No matter where you went, to content creators, to esports, to professional, to just the average guy trying to do a race, it was a bit low. The morale was there. We were all a bit worried about how this game would actually turn out. EA sort of teased us a little as well. They didn't give us too much to kind of go on. And when I first downloaded that game, turned it on, within 10 minutes, I was just like, do you know what? This game is absolutely banging. And I'm so happy because that gives us a chance to get really involved in the racing this year. And if it's anything like that, the skill gap is actually further away. I thought people would be closer together, but no, that was like, you need to be on it, because if you're going to make mistakes, the times are too close, right? You cannot be making mistakes now, or else you're going to end up 12 seconds behind.
Yeah, and that was shown today, wasn't it? Otis just flew away, got the strategy right, and of course, in the end, won by a comfortable 13 second margin. But we've not going to get anyone else in for an interview. I've got nothing else really to say, apart from a big thank you to everybody in the chat, because it's been brilliant today. We've had over 700, 800 people watching along for the first round of the Ironman League, which is just amazing. It's great that we all have the support, even though everyone was a bit unexpected of what we was going to get this game. We've got a good game, so the viewers are back, and that's what we love.
I love it, and we need to keep our lookout for like Zorzo and stuff like that, because there was moments to be made there. He could have definitely got an easy top 5. Yeah. Do you know what? I don't think I've got anything else to say other than, everyone, thank you so much for watching WOR's Ironman Round 1. This is a new season, new game, new winners. Otis Lawrence has dominated this lobby, and we're going to be talking about that all week until next week when we get the next track. Again, if you've just came in halfway through the race, we are Ironman League. We don't care about the qualifying. We put these drivers through 100% race, custom weather dynamically changing however way that the owners want. And you know what? It's came up with another doozy. So, Nathan, if we want to see more from you, where can we find you in this world that we call?
Well, unfortunately, I'm a different name on everything. Twitter, RichieF1, with the ones always replaced with ones, of course. Instagram, Nathan Richards 33. TikTok, Nathan Richards 1, and then Discord. But I don't know anyone that adds people on Discord for the fun of it. You'll just see me around in the chats in the different leagues.
Some proper boomer stuff there, definitely. Add to me on Discord. I'm Scott Taylor. I'm the F1 song review guy that you might see on your social medias. Go check it out. Have some fun. Laugh at the real life drivers. It's been an absolute honor. I've been buzzing for this all day, Nathan. Whenever we do a race, we always have a load of fun. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. WR, we'll be proud to present Ironman, and we will continue to do so into the future. Stay safe. Have a great week. We will see you next week with another banging race. Goodbye, everyone.